Good evening, everyone. Stand by momentarily while we give our last person one more second to come in, having technical difficulties. How y'all doing tonight, boys?
I am
Heyo.
doing good.
Great. Not wearing a hat.
This is a
Natural hair for
Vorpal
you.
Tales
That's right.
first, ladies and
What?
gentlemen.
What is
Vorpal
it
Tales
first?
Dwayne without his hat in game.
No beanie.
I know. It's like he's flashing us, and I'm supposed to like throw him beads or something. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Do you have any beads? I don't see any beads.
Everyone in chat comment about how amazing Dwayne's hair is. Let him know.
Good looking hair. Like
it's a good head of hair.
You just want to grab onto it.
Whoa.
With permission.
Well, I figured by the time I got to the grabbing part, we had already in the throes of passion. So, it was just sort of assumed.
Why does everybody assume I don't have hair?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to go back to a library of videos where you don't have hair.
It's pleasantly hair-like, says chat.
It's pleasantly hair-like. I strongly approve. Okay, now that we're all here, shall we begin?
Yes.
Good evening, fellow survivors. This week we're very excited to be doing our Session 0 character creation of Dystopia Rising Evolution. This is our first Friday session of Terrifying Tales, so that's exciting too. Tiffany and Dwayne have both played in my personal horror games in the past, but never on the channel before. So, everyone gather in a little closer to the fire. It's very cold and dark out there, and I have another terrifying tale to tell you. I am Tyler, Eldritch Echoes on the web, and I will be your story guide tonight. Our Scream Queen and Kinks tonight are here also, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Tell us who you are and where we can find you on the interwebs.
I am Space Lord PJ, Space Lord Pajamas on the internet. You can find me at cartoon.ninja, where I do my doodles, and also here on all the Vorpal Tales stuff. Yeah.
Ooh. I am Inhuman88. You can also, I'm also known as Tiffany and or Pinky. You can meet at Inhuman88 on Twitter and at Pinky_Pie88 on TikTok. I put a lot of D&D related content.
Dwayne, you're next.
Was it okay? I was like, was I next? I don't remember. Hey guys, it's Dwayne. You guys can find me on the internet at Made of Kimchi, and I will be here every Friday playing D&D and Dystopia.
Hello, everybody. I am Steve. You can find me at Voodoo Arcade. You can find me here at Vorpal Tales and all of the games that we run, and on Mondays, running myself or running other players through Savage Superheroes as a superhero game using the Savage World system. But tonight I will be playing in Dystopia Rising, and I am super excited.
All right. And before the horror begins anew, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and leave comments. It helps a lot. We very much appreciate it, and it lets us keep this going even in the night, in the dark. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at Vorpal Tales, and on our website, vorpaltales.com. Also, a special thank you to Onyx Path Publishing for always being awesome to the people who play their games. The Sirenscape, because you can't have a scary game without scary music. And last but not least, thanks to my brother at N8MIDD for an endless list of custom Roll20 character sheets, including tonight's. He's the best at besting. Yes. And now let's head on into Wasteland. Let's talk about the game itself for a second. Dystopia Rising began as a concept developed by Michael, and I'm going to pronounce this terribly, Pucci? P-U-C-C-I. Anybody know if I did that right? Pucci? Pucci?
I would say Pucci.
Maybe it's Fouché.
Could be. In 2003, he and Ashley Zadeb started the LARP as a private pastime, but the game went public in 2009. And since then, the game's popularity has spread quickly, with more than a dozen chapters in both the US and Canada. Dystopia Rising Evolution is the latest edition of the Dystopia Rising post-apocalyptic tabletop role-playing game, which quickly grew into the live-action sensation and now comes full circle back to its tabletop roots. Onyx Path is pleased to be able to update the earlier edition and incorporate elements from the live-action setting with this version, a tabletop role-playing game that presents a fresh and exciting take on the post-apocalypse genre. Developed by Eddie Webb over at Onyx Path Publishing, who also does Bugmire, a setting Sean will be running for us in the future. Onyx Path Publishing was founded in 2012 in Pennsylvania and is dedicated to the development of exemplary immersive worlds. Working with a group of amazingly talented creators, they explore print, electronic, and other forms of media distribution to make products universally available to fans. They make a whole bunch of games, including the World and Chronicle of Darkness titles. The They Came From series that we play on Mondays, Trinity Continuum, sci-fi, superheroes, Scarred Lands, there's fantasy worlds, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Me personally, Onyx Path is basically either my favorite game publisher or tied maybe with Chaosium. That's some creepy horror, I like it. Also, I really like zombies and dystopia games, so let's talk about that for a minute. I'm going to start with you, Sean. Talk to us about dystopia and zombies. Gush about what you like and your experience with them in any media.
Dystopian zombies. I think like the first like real zombie movie I ever watched. I mean, like I saw the old ones as a kid, but that was just sort of in passing. But I really want to say it was like the Dawn of the Dead remake, maybe, possibly. I mean, that's a good start, I guess. That was fun. But then zombie games, you know, there was a while like every game had zombies, so I like slow zombies because I like slow zombies in a horde because that's what they're meant to be, and they're just supposed to overwhelm. Not a huge fan of running zombies or, you know, big crazy ones, but so yeah, I love zombies. We were playing 7 Days to Die a couple weeks ago. That's really rad and killing zombies. So yeah, I dig it. Zombies are fun to kill. That's the best part.
Steve.
Oh, I'm going next. So I think I'm not actually 100% sure between Dwayne and Tiffany. I don't know you quite as well as I know Tyler, but I'm pretty much at the level of just not a little below Tyler in the overall horror aficionado realm, and you always go through Zombieland to, you know, when you're trying to navigate through the world of horror and go and watch all of the milestones and do all the touchdowns, all of those good things. So I mean, I have zombie movies going all the way back to, you know, when you're in high school and you go back and you find, you know, Dawn of the Dead, and you're like, oh, look at this, like, you know, we can make this movie, and it's so creepy and good, and you get sucked into it, and, you know, you go through them. You saw all those, Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, you know, when the two branched off, all the way up to, I love them all. I love slow hordes of zombies. I love the 28 Days Later zombies, the Rage zombies. I like 28 Days Later is a great movie. And yeah, I played all those zombie games with Sean when 500,000 of them came out. One of my favorite memories of us playing games together is what's the name of that? What's the name of that? Dying Light.
Dying Light's really good.
Hardcore zombie killing. Great game, so fun. Jumping off of buildings and drop kicking zombies. It's always fun.
The best zombie thing is what is it? Dr. Ned in Borderlands?
Borderlands, the island.
Yes.
Yes, the island.
I love Dr. Ned. Yeah.
So, just all of it, as much as I can remember of all the things I've watched. So,
Tiffany.
So I had originally watched the, you know, black and white, you know, Dawn of the Dead. It scared the crap out of me. I was 8 at the time, so, you know, I swore off zombies after that. It wasn't until I was probably like maybe 17 years old that I found out that the 1985 Day of the Dead was actually filmed in my hometown of Fort Myers, Florida. And so I got kind of curious about it, and apparently there's a big annual thing in my. It's been a few years now since there was unfortunately a thing that happened several years ago. But they actually had an annual Day of the Dead walk where people would literally dress up as zombies and literally become a giant horde through the city of Fort Myers, downtown Fort Myers, and go through all the areas that were filmed. And they had a similar thing that was done in Sanibel, which is like maybe an hour away. Just honoring the movie being done. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is really cool. And then my friend Tiffany, who's, is the one who introduced me into it. Yes, I have a best friend with the same name as me. She got me into playing zombie games. So she got me started playing Dead Island, on the 360. Like she literally came over to my house and we would LAN so we could co-op because I didn't have, I had dial-up at the time. Such a caveman concept. But like we would LAN together, and she got me into that, and then I started progressing further. Then I started playing Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2 is my all-time favorite zombie game of all time. Then I started progressing into Dying Light. I started playing State of Decay 2 is like, I have the Juggernaut edition. Absolutely love it. Like all the new things are coming with that. It's pretty awesome. There's like pretty epic. Now kind of blowing a little to like the dystopian kind of thing. Well, actually, I kind of got the crap scared out of me because I was playing BioShock and my controller kind of like turned off and it does this weird loud like bang noise like when the controller dies, and it scared the crap out of me.
Oh jeez.
So I'm just like, so my heart's racing a little bit, but like I love BioShock is probably like one of my favorite kind of games also in regards to like the whole zombie like dystopia kind of thing, because I know splicers are technically not zombies, but they're modified enough where they're really no longer human, like they're kind of crazy, they're gross looking, and can you really say they're humans anymore? I mean, but yeah, no, I kind of went crazy with the whole zombie kind of games, and I don't know why I was so scared. The fact that it's like, again, I was 8, I didn't know any better. I didn't realize that the blood was actually just like chocolate syrup or something, But yeah,
Wayne.
That's my experience.
Well, since I get to go last, I'm kind of going to sound repetitive. But, I mean, as far as movies go, I think I've watched almost every single zombie movie ever made.
Nice.
And I am both a fan of the slow-moving zombies and the fast zombies. One of the latest ones, 4Z, was one of my favorite fast-moving zombies, even though they weren't really zombies, so to say.
No, they were just absolutely terrifying and became a giant wall
Exactly.
of flesh.
But as far as slow zombies, I'm surprised no one has mentioned Resident Evil yet. Resident Evil was one of the first, like, dark games that I played when PlayStation first came out.
I was never big into PlayStation. I was a
That's
Nintendo
really good
guy.
call. We did
Me?
totally
Yeah.
skip over Resident Evil.
For me,
Yeah, no,
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil's kind of
was
a-
formative. It formed the entirety of my middle to late teenage years. That Castlevania with Alucard. Help me out here, Sean.
Symphony of the Night.
Thank
Symphony
you.
in the Night. Yeah.
I think it's Resident Evil 2 if I'm remembering correctly, but the one where you're going down the long hallway and it has the one-way mirrored glass and the dog comes through it for the first time.
Yes.
That's one.
Is that 1 or 2?
No, dog comes out of a window. Mirror glass is in 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, whichever it is. That scared the crap out of me so bad. And I remember that to this day. I remember that moment. Like, the details.
Have you played the
of-
remake yet?
No.
Me too. It's worse.
So,
Okay.
for me, I can hit a few things nobody else hit. But as a way too young to be seeing them, Romero and Russo. Yep, all 10 of them. The entire Living Dead and Night of franchise. When it comes to Dystopia, if you haven't watched Mad Max Black and Chrome, you should do it. It's an experience you'll never get anywhere else.
So good.
When it comes to games and movies, though, The Last of Us, easily, hands down, the best zombie
That
game
was
ever
Yes.
created. The best story ever. Should win more awards than it did, and it won all the awards.
I cannot wait for the second one. Oh my god, I'm so
Um,
excited.
For movies, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yes!
If you haven't seen that, you should.
I actually own the book. It is so good.
So, now we can move on to talking about this game. The setting. It's been at least 4 generations since the fall of humanity. No one knows the exact number of years since the world was blasted with nuclear radiation and became infected with fungus and the undead. So the best survivors can do is count the number of generations before them. Oral tradition and crumbling documents detail the remaining history of those first few generations of survivors, and misinformation has clouded the tragic events around the original catastrophe. I'm going to switch songs really fast.
I was so fond of the acoustic.
Switching mood should have a new song with it. Prior to the fall, humanity did everything they could to record and share data across the world. Unfortunately, as green movements and landfill concerns took the forefront of human focus, the shift from hard, sustainable technology to digital and virtual mediums caused a massive period of human growth to be lost. Music released on digital formats all but disappeared. Information shared via the internet and television was eradicated by electromagnetic pulses and low-level ground destruction. Generations of neglect, misunderstanding, and misuse caused localized electronic equipment to break or fall into disuse. Humanity lost most of the advancements from the mid-1990s forward, and the comforts of the modern age were replaced with the essentials and tools needed to survive. The ancestors of today's survivors were the first deviations of the human condition, the initial contact with the mutating fungal infection, and were able to survive the rapidly spreading epidemic. Those ancestors then taught their children, born in a deadly world, how to survive. Those children, the first generation of the new strains of humanity, adapted to exist in this deadly new world, in turn taught their children how to live in the real world, and so on. History is a distant second to such skills as are necessary to both survive and continue eating. The ancestors of today... Oops, I'm going to reread you the same sentence twice. Small communities come together in a world where concepts such as democracy, freedom, and government are newly reborn. Major cities have been all but destroyed. Transit has been reduced to animals, wagons, and the occasional iron horse. Humanity has just started to rebuild the telegraph lines, and the postmen have begun to ride from territory to territory, but large sections of the world are still irradiated or completely overrun by the undead. Steam trains become networks of travel for the affluent and industrialized territories, while small holdout communities hidden in the wastes worship strange cargo cult gods scraped out of the irradiated soil. Finding a community of decent size in this world is rare. Finding one that has any concept of equality or morality is rarer still. Oh, and people have the unnerving ability to come back from the dead, regrown from the very virus that destroyed the world. This is Dystopia. The world is broken. It is up to you to pick up the pieces and make a new world from the remains of the old. Welcome to the evolution. Fall of mankind. History. Before the fall of mankind, your ancestors existed in excess and wealth. These individuals created technological marvels that you can only dream of. Most of them had their own houses, their own green spaces, and entire places dedicated just to entertainment. They were creatures that would put even the staunchest heathens to shame. Now imagine the largest city you can think of today. Double it, triple it, quadruple it. That doesn't even come close to how many humans existed in the world. They created soaring towers and architectural masterpieces. The city stretched out for as far as the eye could see. You wouldn't be able to comprehend what they built. For all their strengths, however, humans also had their flaws. They became comfortable in their immortality. While they were surrounded by unheard of delights, they were still unhappy. They were able to communicate across great distances and were more likely than ever to wall off others due to their differences. A person that disagreed with them was immediately shut out of their circle. Instead of engaging in dialogue, they screamed at one another, not viewing each other as people, but instead as the nebulous other. If something bothered them, they pretended it wasn't there. Perhaps this is why humans finally ceased to exist. They raised their walls against the wars and the turmoil and the strife that was happening around the world. They closed their ears to truthful words and instead focused on petty differences that didn't matter. When the end came, they didn't even understand what was happening. At first, they tried to pretend it didn't exist, like everything else that caused them distress. You still cannot determine what exactly caused the initial outbreak. However, a few things point to research being conducted by a group called the Mon Corporation. Due to the sheer volume of people in the world, those who were in power realized that something needed to be done. There simply weren't enough resources to support a population at the rate that it was growing. The only possible solution seemed to be systematic population control. Those in power gave subsidies to corporations that created poisonous edible substances. They helped spur wars in areas that were deemed as not contributing to human advancement. They manufactured famines and committed atrocities for the sake of the greater good. It worked for a time. Unfortunately, they didn't factor in how resilient and robust life is. They didn't realize that evolution had other plans. The rise of the infection. The infection spawned from a fungal material, that much is certain. It is hypothesized that it originally may have been used to manufacture famine, but so many records are lost that it's impossible to determine exactly where it spawned from. What is certain, however, is that it mutated and interacted with the chemicals in human bodies to cause a massive pandemic. This pandemic swept through the population, killing people by the scores. The few that were immune became your oldcesters. Unfortunately for the world, those killed by the fungal infection didn't stay dead. They rose again to wreak havoc on cities. When the contagion couldn't be stopped, areas were bombed in the hopes of wiping out infected individuals. And even some of the houses and buildings came back, just as twisted and warped as the people. Radiation spread across what was once known as America. Mercenary groups killed anyone who had a trace of infected material within them. The inevitable finally happened, though. The world fell, and your oldcesters ceased to exist. However, this wasn't the end of intelligent life on the planet. The fungal infection within certain individuals mutated into different strains. Over time, environmental and genetic factors created the strains of humanity, able to withstand the new harsh environs of the world. At this point, what is now colloquially known as the infection is present in every part of our environment. It has incorporated itself into plants, animals, humanity, and even objects. It is what sustains your very existence on this planet. Without it, life as you know it would cease to exist. Infection is, at its core, about replication. This explains why you can come back a certain amount of times. Each copy becomes more and more imperfect until you are simply a walking corpse. The same goes for the rest of the world. It explains why you still see pieces of scrap that are from before the fall. They are simply imperfect replications, a copy of a copy of a copy. What does this mean for you? It means that over time, your world is becoming more imperfect and possibly degrading. It means that eventually your ecosystem may completely collapse. However, there's also the hope that evolution may be able to steer you another way. It's possible that these copies may be better than the originals. Rebuilding civilization. The first settlements did not last long. They were more like shanty towns rather than actual established locations. Those who stayed in cities lived in the sad remains of buildings, while those who took to the country built what they could out of natural resources. There were exceptions, of course. A lucky few found abandoned farms and set up shop there. But even then, there were difficulties. Infected dead hungered for living flesh. Many of these first colonizers were swept away in the tide of the undead hordes. Humanity, however, was persistent. Over time, small settlements were born out of the wastes. People began to return to what they once viewed as home and began to rebuild. They formed new societies and cultures that spread to every corner of what you now call North America.
No
Now we
clue.
come to the part of history that you may recognize. Many people believe that the fall of mankind happened only 1 or 2 generations ago. The fact of the matter is that it was probably a lot longer than that, especially when you look at the ruins of where major pre-fall cities were built. It wouldn't make sense to have cities built so close to the waterline, or in some instances, underwater. By looking at how much geography itself has shifted, you can assume that the fall happened more than 1,000 years ago. It's taken that long for your world to get back to some semblance of normalcy, and even now it's fraught with turmoil and strife. Most of you will know about the major cities spread across the waste. There's the city of Sunken Saints to the south, there's Old York and Beacon Hill to the northeast, there's Vegasia to the west, and cities and settlements spread everywhere in between. These are the major settlements that have begun to build themselves up again amid the chaos. Many of them are built in the remains of pre-fall cities. Others have shifted a few miles north or south, east or west. If you notice, some of the ruins are extraordinarily well preserved. This is largely because the same fungal component that allows you to regenerate is also in everything else. While a piece of scrap metal isn't going to heal itself, it may still actually exist in some capacity even after all this time. As these settlements were built and as people began to come together, major superpowers emerged. Vegasia, ruled by purebloods and populated mostly by Vegasians, was first a hub for the Church of Telling Visionaries faith. That all changed with the emergence of the Final Night religion. The founder overthrew the purebloods in power and established herself in the Grand Black Pyramid. There she displayed her power for all to see. In the northeast, Old York emerged from the remains of what was once known as New York City. Here, people divided up into gangs with defined territories. Trading routes began to spread outward toward the rest of the wastes with the help of nomads. To the southeast was the Big AC, a place of vice and gambling that exported its love of entertainment to Old York. Further north, Beacon Hill emerged from the area that was once Boss Town as a major settlement. Built on swamplands, this new settlement became a tightly controlled city-state ruled by purebloods and baywalkers that mainly subsisted in the fishing industry along with underwater scavenging rights. One of their main exports for a time was whale oil, which helped power lanterns across areas that did not have access to electricity. In the northwest was a major settlement by the name of the Iron Works. This was a place of major industry and production. For their time in your modern history, they were amazingly technologically advanced. They created trains and rails, shipped them across the Northeast. However, all of this came at a price. The Ironborn were used as factory workers and miners without pay, often treated terribly by the Americans and purebloods that worked as overseers. In the far north, the Reclaimers established their cities and towns, becoming a force to be reckoned with after years of warring with Americans in the south over certain profitable areas. Excuse me. It's a war that first began when humans from the south tried to evacuate to the north and were barred entrance. To this day, there is still an uneasiness between the landsmen and the evolved. There are certain stereotypes that cannot be removed even after centuries in between. Further to the south was DC, a location that held on to some of the knowledge that occurred before the fall. This was also the place where the trade union originated, a group that wished to spread safe trade routes across the waste to help facilitate rebuilding the world. Trade union senators were dispatched to various large cities as envoys to help with this process. However, many settlements looked upon them as untrustworthy. They felt as if these individuals were attempting to control the wasteland as their own when they are only trying to improve trade routes. As you might suspect, this perception changed, but it took years before it did. In the Deep South, an individual by the name of the Rat King began to rule over a series of islands that were once part of a place called Florida, known as the Rat's Kingdom or the Rat Trap. The waterlogged city flourished under the rule of scientifically minded purebloods. Intrigued by the bad brain disease and the rapid evolution of raiders, they began experimentation to create a new strain that was resistant to the bad brain disease. The corruption there was almost palpable, and still is today.
As a bunch of Floridians, you can't drop that on us.
Did you just say the people from Floridia in the new Rat King zone had the bad brain disease?
No, they were trying to cure the bad brain disease.
Oh.
They were scientists. We'll get more to that in a minute.
Wait, my only question is, were bath salts involved in this?
No.
Yeah, were they trying to like cure Florida
Bath
Man?
salts are long gone.
Oh my god!
Most of
This
Florida
whole
is
game-
long gone, as you'll see in a minute.
No, this whole game is based off of some Florida man.
Nearby,
Florida
Is
Man
this-
caused the apocalypse. I knew it.
That's
nearby is
definitely
the
a headline
city of
that's
sunken
coming.
states. While you'll likely see a city made from a series of docks on the surface of the waves, the real city lies beneath the murky waters. Here, full dead and saltwise live in relative peace. This is the city of the dead and the dying. This location is where you can find the origins of some of the most influential and dangerous organizations in the wastes. To the west of that is Star City, a place mostly made up of the landsmen. This settlement dealt with the unique issue of zombie hordes amassing into groups that consisted of hundreds of individuals. They therefore developed new ways to lure the Zeds away from their settlements. Nearby are also the rich oil fields of the region which fuel diesel jock rides. These were once worked by Irons with American overseers. Across the wastes, raider groups began to become more established as threats as they continued to evolve. They raided and marauded, stealing people that they infected with the horrific and bad brain disease. New types of undead also emerged, multiplying and becoming more of a threat to the world at large. During this time, strains remained mostly static while raiders and Zeds thrived. This was the landscape of Normerica as our grandparents and great-grandparents knew it. Trade routes were only just beginning to form, and most roads were dangerous to tread. Most strains died early in life due to raiders or encounters with the undead, or simply due to violence between strains. Americans were lucky to live to the age of 25, and the oldest strains only lasted until about the age of 45. While the infection allowed strains to come back a certain amount of times, it wasn't enough to offset the rise of mortality. In fact, the infection is the only reason why the strains weren't wiped off this planet long ago. Without it, there would simply not be enough time to reproduce and raise the next generation. The rise of civilization. As you may know, things have changed in these later years. You've become more civilized, and it is feared are falling into the same vices that humans once did. History repeats itself, a wise man once said, but maybe you can learn from it this time around. After these major cities were established, your world entered another rapid bout of evolution. It's possible that you simply were unaware of some things that already existed, but it's more likely that sudden stability in your world combined with the nature of the infection helped spur a period of evolution among the lineages. Notable are the Tainted, which evolved when certain remnants began to develop an immunity to bad brain. Enough of them developed this same genetic anomaly that a new strain was born out of the mutants. With that said, it is theorized that the rise of the strain can largely be attributed to the experimentation that occurred within the rat trap. Similarly, the strain of the evolved, called the Unstable, was also originally created from remnants. Instead of evolving naturally, this strain was at first created to be a weapon. However, successive generations that bred with remnants eventually created the Unstable that you know today. There should also be given a special mention to the Quiet Folk as a potentially newly evolved strain. However, it is suspected they didn't so much evolve as they were overlooked because they're quiet. Even now, some individuals still claim they're just quiet Americans. However, their physiology differs enough that they're clearly their own strain. Amid this rash of strain evolution, you also evolved more in terms of civilization. During a meeting of the Circle of 12 Knots, individuals from across the wasteland were invited to participate in discussions about the future of your civilization. Yes.
Sorry, the circle of what, where, who?
12 knots.
Nuts.
Like
Yeah,
knots
you're gonna
you
need
tie in a rope.
Sure. Is that a thing that that just is it's a funny name to me. Is that something
Your
we
Steve's
should?
a funny name to me, but you don't
It's-
see me talking about
It's
it.
the wasteland way of saying like G8.
Oh,
Pieces of 8, Steve.
pieces of 7.
Species of 6.
Right.
While this particular meeting is normally reserved just for nomads, they open their doors to representatives from the Ironworks, DC, which you should be thinking in your head is DEECE, Old York, and the Kingdom of the Rat King, among other locations. Each had a different agenda they wished to push, and each had their chance to speak during this gathering. This meeting was the first step toward the modern wasteland that you know today. Since so many voices were able to gather together, individuals from across the wastes were able to see that others harbored similar or dissimilar opinions. This paved the way to new trade negotiations and alliances. Over the next few years, other meetings were held across the wastes to discuss important information. Settlements began to be less suspicious. The trade union and nomads began to push for better routes to be able to travel across the wastes. Bless me.
Bless
The
you.
Iron Uprising. Most notably, this meeting helped spur a revolution that remains fresh in the minds of your parents. The Irons of the Ironworks began to stage revolts and spread outward to the rest of the wastes. Using the railways that their kin had built under forced servitude, they were able to send messages as far south as the Rat King's kingdom and as far west as Vegasia. This bloody uprising caused the ironworks to fall. It's said that you could see smoke rising from the burning factories for hundreds of miles around. Those who once ruled were slaughtered by the score, victims of their own hubris and past cruelties. The Irons quickly took hold of the machinery and technology that was present and began shipping weapons to other Irons across the wastes. Both Old York and Beacon Hill quickly outlawed slavery, with the Rat King's kingdom following. Vegasia held on for longer, however this choice wound up partially destroying the city. This uprising truly shaped the world you live in today. The ironworks has been slow to recover, which explains the stall in railroad expansion. Similarly, Vegasia still has not completely recovered since the incident. The massive streams of cash that once flowed freely through the city have dried up to an extent. The massive halls that once housed purebloods have been burned and pillaged. These days, there is less excess in the area and more focus on survival. This may explain why Celestials can be found staging rebuilding efforts in the region. This uprising was in part so successful because travel had improved exponentially in a few short years. The trade union and nomad groups worked together to create established and safe roads for all to travel. There was an active effort to create transportation between major trade hubs and establish safe havens at points along these roadways. This allowed information to spread more freely and allowed individuals fleeing certain settlements to be able to do so with far less effort than they used to be able to. Of course, today the network of roads is continuing to spread through the combined efforts of settlements across the waste. These pathways help move information, goods, and even armies if need be. The war against the raiders. This brings you to the second thing that occurred during this tumultuous time. Raiders began to amass in various locations across the wastes, making certain areas impossible to enter. Some people call this period the War Against the Raiders. Certainly, there were more raiders than usual simply due to the spread of bad brain during this time, but it was not a war in the old world sense. It wasn't organized enough, and instead resulted in several large skirmishes that at times involved entire settlements fighting to survive. A particularly large mass of raiders descended on the Rat Trap. While the Rat Trap was defended well against the undead, it stood no chance against the onslaught of raiders, especially when some were already inside the walls. No one is quite sure what happened to the Rat King, but rumors say he either succumbed to bad brain or died badly during one of the attacks. The amount of life lost in this area cannot be calculated properly. It can only be stated what has happened during the aftermath of this once large settlement. Experimenting with raiders has been outlawed, like everywhere else in the wastes. The pureblood dynasty that once existed in the Rat Trap has all but been exterminated. Instead, Baywalkers and Saltwise have begun to live in the area, and only a few purebloods remain. In some opinions, the Rat Trap got the wake-up call it sorely needed. It's no longer the technological powerhouse that it once was, but it does have better trade relations with the surrounding areas. The dangers of the overgrowth, capital O. Another important thing to note is the expanse of the overgrowth in the Midwest. This large mass of trees and foliage has been prominent throughout your history, hiding mutated creatures that evolved over generations and generations. While settlements that live near the overgrowth burn back the foliage every so often, it's worth noting that the animals that reside within it have mutated even further over successive generations. These days, you can find what can only be described as monsters hiding within this mass. This wouldn't be so much of an issue if the push for roads and pathways didn't see the overgrowth as something to be conquered. Some of you may remember the incident that occurred about 10 years ago. There was an initiative to burn out parts of the overgrowth to create a safe road that went straight through the area instead of around. Many settlements near the overgrowth pushed for it and offered their manpower to help. At first it looked as though it might succeed. They managed to cut about 3 miles into the overgrowth, clearing large swaths of the foliage as they worked to lay down stones so it didn't grow back. Armed guards...
We haven't been able to have a corporate potluck since the incident.
Armed guards kept the worst creatures at bay, and many believed they were going to make history with this endeavor. Unfortunately, the good luck didn't last. They ran into a creature's territory during its breeding season. Reports are unclear about exactly what type of animal it was, but it was big and exhibited pack-like behavior with others of its kind. The workers on the roadway were slaughtered and consumed to a man. 2 escaped, one moving to a small settlement on the coast and the other moving all the way to Old York. There have been rumors of another attempt. People are still wary about entering this untamed bit of wilderness within the wasteland. Technology today. Your technology has not advanced much over these last few years. You've improved roads and even some aspects of transport, but you're still way behind anything humans once had. It's hard to construct a nuclear generator when you have to worry about a horde of dead bodies breaking down your front door and your wall. With that said, you've managed to make some strides forward over the past few generations. There are a few printing presses across the wastes, and there is also a higher rate of literacy as a consequence. You've also advanced your weaponry by leaps and bounds. Better guns and better blades for obvious reasons. Not all technology is aimed at destruction. The Mass, and in particular Beacon Hill, have also made some amazing steps forward when it comes to underwater scavenging. It makes sense considering most of their economy is based around fishing. They've created pressurized tanks of air that can be breathed underwater with the right equipment. It's dangerous work, and many divers often suffer severe sickness if they stay underwater too long. But it's certainly a technological marvel that's worth being noted. There are also generators in some areas that create actual electricity. This power is often sporadic, but it's there, and you can be sure that more towns have electricity now than 40 years ago. Medical research has also advanced. That's actually short for Massachusetts.
Right. I know. So if something is made in the mass, is it known as the mass device?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Grave robbers,
I
who
want
study
that.
all aspects of the mortus amaranthine and the fungal infection, have made huge strides toward perfecting certain surgeries and techniques that help sustain and revive strains. While strains are naturally hardy because of the infection allows for rapid healing, there are certain diseases that have formed that are difficult to heal. In addition, the grave robbers have begun to become better at restoring strains who are close to coming out of the grave as Zeds rather than as strains. As you can imagine, these life-restoring surgeries have had a major impact on the lifespan of most strains. Some strains live as long as 55 years these days. Americans are living until their mid-30s. Progress. The coming storm. With that said, there's turmoil on the horizon in this new age. The wasteland has become more organized, which means more conflicting views are coming into contact with one another. While you were largely scattered as recently as 50 years ago, these days you're closer than ever simply due to transportation. Instead of taking almost a year to cross the entirety of Normerica, it can be done in just a few short months. Certain organizations believe that by expanding outward they can control the waste as a whole. Others still hold the belief that some strains are expendable when it comes to the advancement of technology. Some already see the storm on the horizon. They see how tyrants may wish to become wasteland-wide kings. They see how the ability to shift armies across the wastes may well turn the tide for what has been a relatively peaceful existence. Do not follow the same path as your forebears. Do not give in to fighting about petty differences and inconsequential actions. Do not wall yourself against information from other settlements and towns. Do not turn a blind eye to the atrocities being committed in other parts of Normerica. You are at a point where you can follow the others that have come before you, or you can forge your own path. It's time for you to band together as survivors and as people. The next time you hear an opinion within your earshot you don't agree with, Ask why that's their opinion instead of immediately calling to arms. The next time you dislike an opinion, don't immediately scream about it, but instead find out the reasoning behind it. You evolved brains, thoughts, and feelings. You were created as people instead of the restless data raiders. You have the capability for greatness. However, you also have the capability for atrocities beyond imagining. As you travel the wastes and as you see more of the world, remember that the only way you can survive is by staying together. This is your chance to rise up as a whole instead of falling once more. Your history is fraught with collapses, but one more may very well destroy what is left of intelligent life on this world. You can only hope your future will be brighter than your past. You are people, you are survivors, these are your lives, and how you live that matters.
So no pressure.
The game itself. What you will see in a game of Dystopia Rising. Mutations. Animal and plant life has mutated drastically since the fall. Thousands of strange plants and animals exist based on evolutions and mutations of real-world modern flora and fauna. But be wary. You may not be the one hunting those strange mutant beasts. They might be hunting you. Psionic illusions. Psionic manifestations can delude a person's visual perception, however they cannot actually change reality. When such an illusion occurs, it is an individual, living or dead, exerting their will with limited scope and capacity. Such illusions are rare, however, and thus can be confused for reality. Pseudoscience. We know that most forms of radiation don't manifest as green and glow, but they do in this game. We know that medical procedures require specific tools and medications to prevent the spread of infection. We know that you can't use random chunks of metal and bone to make a new working piece of technology, but you can in this game. We also know that a world such as Dystopia Rising evolution benefits from simplified concepts and narrative takes on science over hard scientific simulation. What you won't see, lots of supernatural creatures, ghosts, werewolves, dragons, other stuff like that. You might see things that look like them because of mutations, but they aren't. Magic. Won't see any magic. You'll see stuff that looks like it, though. Psionics and the miracles of religious faith are both a limited form of mental capacity to change the world. Beyond that, though, that's it. Functioning high technology. Most post-1990s technology did not survive well in this irradiated environment. Typically, you can consider the technology, the Industrial Revolution, mid-1700s to mid-1800s, as commonplace. Anything from the Second Industrial Revolution, late 1800s to early 1900s, is the high-tech areas of large settlements. Game themes. The main theme of this game is the pros and cons of community. A lot of post-apocalyptic fiction focuses on the loneliness of being a survivor. Dystopia Rising goes in a different direction, exploring the benefits and drawbacks of rebuilding communities when the world has fallen apart. There's plenty of inspiration for toxic and aggressive communities in post-apocalyptic fiction, but those aren't the only options. Is it possible to build something positive and productive when the world has gone to hell? Screwing people over and thinking of yourself is easier in the short term, but in the long game of rebuilding civilization, is it worth the risk to you and your companions? Do the zombies care about your ideological concerns? This dilemma is explored in this game on both the macro scale and the micro. Teams of survivors struggle with... Yes.
Is there going to be a person that's constantly telling us a settlement needs our help?
No, and you'll find out why shortly. Teams of survivors struggle with similar questions. Who gets the rations and who goes hungry? How is crime against the group settled? Who determines punishment? Do you run a democracy and autocracy? What's more important, ideals or survival? A second, more implicit theme is what constitutes humanity. The strains of humanity are mutations of the body. People coming back from the death again and again have a different mental and emotional connection with everyone and everything around them. When your flesh and your soul are altered, is it only your morality that allows you to call yourself human?
So, are we gonna come across a dictatorship at any point?
Nope. Mood of the game. The mood of this game is the darkest before the dawn.
Steve gets it.
I get it too, it's not happening. Post-apocalypse as a genre is bleak. It's a way to showcase the worst of human nature and extrapolate where those urges will take us. That's not what this game is. Dystopia Rising has something that most post-apocalyptic fiction lacks: hope. Yes, the word dystopia is in the title, but so is Rising. People can and often do succumb to their baser instincts, but some rise above them, seeking to create something better in the chaos and darkness. Further, the survivors you portray are a cut above the average person. You can be better if you choose to. The action of the game: reclamation. Theme and mood are all well and good, but what do you do in a session? There's lots of options, from fighting off zombies to negotiating with bandits to scavenging for fuel. But the reason you thrust yourselves into danger and moral dilemmas time and again is reclamation. This is both physical reclamation, let's make this abandoned town habitable again, and spiritual reclamation. Now that I've come back from the dead, I need to rebuild my mind and soul. In a world gone mad, reclaiming faith can be just as important as acquiring canned goods from a swarm of undead, and just as deadly. Other things. As this is a game about a dystopia, and about the zombie apocalypse, there may be topics or tropes that make some of us uncomfortable. One great tool to ensure that people can lean in and play hard while still having an out if things become uncomfortable is the X card. Created by game designer John Stavropoulos, the card is simply an index card or piece of paper with an X drawn on it, which is placed in the middle of the table when you're all together. If anyone feels uncomfortable with a topic being touched on during play, you tap the card. This lets everyone know it's time to change the topic. No explanation is necessary, just drop the current subject and move on. This lets everyone get as into a scene as they want while making sure there's an escape hatch if things go too far. In our game, in Roll 20, Nathan hooked us up. You should all see a macro on the lower left, under your name or whatever name's first for you. It says X card, way down under your name in the bottom left. If you don't see that, you can also click the macro button, which is 3 dots and 3 lines next to the gear in the upper right. You should see a macro there called X card. Click that, watch what happens.
No.
Just like that.
So many X's.
Where is this?
This is really cool.
Upper right.
What?
Upper right,
What did I
where the
do?
gear icon is for your options. To the left of the gear is a button that has 3 dots and 3 lines. Click that.
I don't.
Should have a macro that says X card.
It's your collection tab. If you go up to your chat journal.
I'm putting a screenshot of it in the chat room. The arrow pointing to it. Click that button.
Oh.
You'll see the macro.
And you can click put in bar. to put
Yep,
it
and
in
then you
your
can put it in your bar so you can see it like I said in the bottom left.
Okay, cool. Practice using
It
it.
does that, which means...
Oh, I
Yep.
see.
Okay. My table rules. Sexual violence is not depicted in this game at all. Your personal stories may reference it, but it will not be on screen. We would simply describe the effects the situation currently has on a character instead of going into detail about past abuses you've suffered. Everything else is on the table, which is why we have the X card. If the X card is pulled, we will fade to black, and I will describe the aftermath without directly referencing the triggering episode. Questions?
Yes. Can I X card Steve?
No. Particularly
Steve.
sensitive scenes can be negotiated between players or the affected player and me as necessary. Related to that, if one of you is playing a character with a trauma condition, which we'll get into later, it's wise to talk this over if possible with each other and with me, whether on screen or not. As much as we love playing games, sometimes real life intrudes on it, whether we want it to or not. Players may be dealing with their own traumas, from sexual abuse to assault, home invasions, conflict zone, if you're a veteran, being mugged in your past. This is a hard-hitting game about survival and brutality in a wasteland, but, X card, that's what it's there for. Also, if the body horror gets too much and we're grossing you out, you can X card it. It's also important to recognize that Dystopia Rising is a world where nobody gives a tiny tin-plated fuck about the prejudices of the modern world. Things like skin color, sexuality, and gender identity just aren't issues anymore. The strains changed a lot for one, and for another, there just aren't enough people left for folks to be picky about stupid shit like that. Sure, there's still bigots. Nice to see that even the end of the world can't cure the need to be a useless asshole, but these days, they're bigoted about other strains, or different religions, or people of other territories they dislike. So when we explore racism or classism in this game, it will only be in the forms of other strains, people from other areas, or people from other religions. We will not use real-world prejudices and slurs while playing the game. Your Dystopia. There isn't one true way to play Dystopia Rising. While the book assumes certain default thematic elements and story expectations as part of creating a coherent and evocative setting, players are always free to adjust these settings to suit their needs. Think of this setting as being governed by sliding values, with the middle being the default. First value, Gritty versus Gonzo. This slider controls the sense of realism in the setting. A gritty game means you can expect to have to track your ammunition, much water's in your canteen, every single injury. A Gonzo game pays less attention to that in favor of a spectacle. A gritty post-apocalyptic world is focused on the nuts and bolts of survival. Every bullet counts, every day takes rations to survive, and resources are always scarce. By contrast, Gonzo is louder, brighter, and defiantly over the top. There's a guy hanging off the front of the truck playing hard rock metal off a flaming guitar while he charges that dude through the sand.
Mad Max style?
That's, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will be playing Gritty Gonzo. What that means is, when it's time to deal with your settlement, your survivors are going to be more concerned with crops, fixing a busted shooter, and mending broken legs, and whether or not you have enough bullets to fend off raiders. When I have you travel through the wasteland, and you're fighting random monsters, all Gonzo, not bullet counting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Gritty realism at home, Gonzo out and explore.
Yeah.
Horror versus adventure, slider 2. This slider controls the primary type of tension your story has. The fear-based stress of terror and horror, or the adrenaline rush of action-adventure. Horror stories are about confronting things that make us afraid, and frequently are imbalanced in favor of the horror, forcing you to be clever and choose battle carefully, as well as enforcing harsh consequences for being caught by the horror. Adventure stories, on the other hand, are action and exploration. We will be doing, of course, horror speak. The world is broken and cannot be fixed, and from Zeds to Raiders to the tainted ground itself, its dangers can never be totally defeated, only temporarily overcome. This doesn't mean there can't be adventures, there will be, and moments of joy along the way, only that the fear and danger are never far away. Questions on that?
Nope.
Heroic versus humble. This controls the scale of the game. I am make this one real easy. You gotta save all of North America and the world, or do you just have to worry about your settlement? Humble. We got a lot of epic world-saving stories on this channel. This one, your goal will be to head out into the wasteland of the Rockies, survive getting there, and then build a new settlement and keep it safe until it can keep itself safe. That's the entire goal of this game.
That's awesome.
Bleak versus Bright. This slider adjusts the emotional tone of the game. Bleak focuses more on the negatives: cynicism, fatalism, ruthlessness, betrayal, pragmatism. And Bright is hope, compassion, optimism, honor, and hard-won camaraderie. We'll be using the game default of mixed. While most survivors see the world as irredeemably broken, a certain gallows humor and an indomitable can-do spirit are more common reactions to this than despair and nihilism. People may not think the world can be fixed, but they're sure not just going to stand by and let it get any worse either. You're not called survivors for nothing. Questions on that?
So, if the previous thing was called Gritty Gonzo, is this mix going to be called Brightly Bleak?
I was going to call it Bleakly Bright, but we'll go with yours.
Okay. By the way, Gritty Gonzo, new band name. Called it in chat too.
Nailed.
Hashtag copyright.
Alright, how the game works. The series. The series is the whole thing. Your story will begin in the city of Philadelphia. That's 3 words. Where you are part of a group that is breaking away from the city to follow what most people around you consider to be a pipe dream. You're all a bunch of crazy motherfuckers. Find and reclaim the old Cester city in the clouds in the Rocky Mountains. That place even exists. You will have to travel to parts of Old York, then across the Great Sea to the Motor City, then across the Rusted Belt, and then Dakota Flats, and then up into the overgrowth of the Rocky Mountains, and ultimately try to find the fabled city in the clouds. The act.
Tyler, I do not mean to derail this. This is awesome, but you got a star in the background there.
I know. I've been staring at her for like the past 5 minutes.
She is stealing all your thunder.
She very much wants to go outside, but I'm making her wait till the monologue's over. She's prettier than me, too. The act. An act is typically a series of scenes, usually 2 to 4 of them, and most of the game session will be 1 to 3 acts. So when I start talking about acts, it doesn't mean a session. It means a series of events within the session. This will come into play for like recovery and stuff like that. Scene durations are variable and depend entirely on what's happening. Turns are individual actions that take place during a scene, either into or out of initiative. I'm going to give you a short lexicon because I said a lot of stuff. Of things I'm going to say you might hear a lot that are important to remember. Bad brain. Bad brain is a terrifying disease spread by raiders. Succumbing to the disease causes you to be resurrected as a raider of the same clan. An insane, nihilistic, cannibalistic monster, exactly like in Firefly.
Oh, these are Reavers. Okay.
Yeah. And if they hit you and infect you, you become the
No,
Fall.
that's not cool.
No. The Fall. That's the event that changed humanity and the world became populated with radiation zombies. The Grave Mind. This is the collective hive mind of everyone infected by the fungal virus, which is all of you, that destroyed the world. If you come back from the dead, you end up having harrowing and deeply personal experiences with this. You may hear other in-character terms of the Sunless Garden, the Hell Between, and the Black Passage. This is all the weird shit that connects you through the fungus. The infection. This is the fungus. Lecky, or electricity. I don't think I need to explain that.
Wait, hold on. My fingers get on the tap so fast.
Is this glossary? What's the word for list
Lexicon.
of words? Lexicon.
Yeah.
Is this in the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I'll share most of this document at the end of the session.
Thank you. Okay, go on.
Lineage. These are the 8 core variations of humanity. Each variation has 3 strains, substrains within it, for 24 total strains. So like families of strains. Old Cester, people from before the fall. Morgue, a location within a settlement where the dead return to life with a reasonable chance of keeping their sanity. It's a good place, not a weird, creepy one.
Okay.
Raiders, we went over that. Scraps, gonna come up a lot. Bits of old machines, hunks of metal, or other potentially useful things for repairing devices. Bartering material. Strain, that's a variation of humanity to survive to fall. It's not exactly a race, it's your genetic makeup. Turlet Hooch. I think you can figure that out. Ups, UPP, short for Universal Price Point. If you ever move a lot between settlements, this will come up. Like one settlement has a certain price point for stuff, another one has different ones, so between them they come up with an up to determine what the common trade value is for stuff. The Wastes, that's everything that's not in a settlement, and Zeds, those are zombies. I'm going to give you a minute to absorb all that while I do take care of my dog real fast before she eats my face.
Let the doggo out.
Set that dog free.
So that was a lot.
It was a lot of information.
It was.
It was way too much information. I could barely keep up with that note-wise.
Yeah, no, I think it was all really good information, definitely. I'm glad that we have it. I don't think you need to remember every little bit of it. I don't know about you guys. I'm actually really excited though, having heard that. I like that idea of gritty and adventures.
Gonzo.
Yeah, gritty Gonzo. I don't know. I think that'll be kind of cool. It'll be a lot more low key, small scale than some of our other games, so it's going to be a good change of pace. I'm excited.
I'm excited to get into these characters. I have no idea what kind of character I'm going to build.
Oh, I already got my character. I have his name, how he's gonna talk, where he's from. I have a rough idea on how I want him built. I just need to know what I can and cannot do. You guys are in love.
I'm gonna enjoy X Garden Steve. Steve X Garden video.
That's unfortunate.
It is what it is.
I feel like X carding your X card. Like it's a temptation in mind right now.
I think if you X card an X card, then there is no X card because they cancel each other out. So we're just kind of like back to square one.
Or is this like exploding kittens?
Oh, it just
whatever the last played card is. But I mean, all jokes aside, though, I do really appreciate the X card being added, and I think that's a really good table mechanic that if someone's not using, I recommend it. It's really handy for some situations when you get into stuff in games.
I agree.
Did you just X card me?
No, I just accidentally hit the X card button.
Oh.
Okay,
How do you accidentally hit an X card?
dice rolling. Rolling dice in Dystopia Rising or any story path game is pretty simple, with a lot of optional elements to accentuate the experience. Here's a quick breakdown. You pick a skill and an attribute relevant to the roll at hand. I'm going to have you open your sheets now and somebody gets to be a guinea pig.
Me!
Yay!
I got all excited from the noise.
Steve, can you see it? Do I need to reshape it? Good to go? Okay. So
Yes,
for
good.
this particular character sheet, you click your attribute. So click any one of those 9, Dwayne. I don't care.
The attributes.
Click into the action. Yep. See how it highlights red? And then click a skill. Any skill.
Intelligence.
See how that highlights red?
Yep.
Now click 10 again. You'll almost always use 10 again, 9 again, 8 again, or when certain powers kick in. And then don't add any modifiers because there won't be any right now. Roll it.
Ask me. Oh. Gone.
And that's what happens. And because you have 0, it failed. It'll read out what the roll was, how many successes you got, how many ones you rolled, and the total number of successes and whether or not you overall succeeded.
I haven't messed with a sheet like this in months.
When you're done, unclick the skill and the attribute so they're no longer red.
I
Back
was
to
just
normal.
about to say I am slightly sad that there is no clear all.
The API does weird things if you make it do that. I will set the difficulty of the roll, as well as any complications. You will then roll d10s equal to the skill plus the attribute. Each die that rolls the target number or higher, standard of 8, is a success. Normally in this game, 10 re-rolls and is a success for exploding dice. But to keep all of our story path games universal, 10 simply counts as 2 successes, and it will add that for you in the roller.
Cool.
If the roll has at least 1 success, you can add any enhancements to the pool of successes generated. You're going to see enhancements come up. It'll say like plus 4 dice enhancement on a roll. That only applies if you succeed. You don't get to add 4 dice to the roll. You get to add 4 successes to the number you already got. Using these total number of successes, you buy off the difficulty. If the difficulty is 3, you spend 3 of your successes to succeed. If you have successes left, you can buy off complications and purchase stunts and make it cooler. Now, before we can move on, we need to address death and dying. Because it's weird and awesome in this game. So, you have two kinds of injury, which we can see on the character sheet. Scroll your sheet down to it so people can see it. You have physical and mental. You start out with one bruised, one injured, one maimed, and one taken out for physical. The others are on the sheet because you can gain them, so you should be checking off as we go if you get more than the base 3. Mental, you get one troubled, one distraught, one haunted. When they all run out, and you hit taken out, you're on the ground, weird shit'll happen. Mentally, when you're burned, you basically go insane. The pressures of the wasteland got to you. So, also, I will describe your actual injury and hand out a complication. I'm not just going to say, you lose a health box. I'm going to say, he blows your kneecap out, Sean, and now you're a -2 to anything regarding movement, and you're at half speed because you're dragging that leg behind you. And I'm going to hand you a condition card, which I'll make, that tells you what the condition does and the penalties.
Cool.
That's all pretty normal. Bleeding out. When you reach the stage of taken out, you're conscious but have sustained major injuries. However, if you get hurt after you are taken out, you become bleeding out, and if nobody immediately saves you, you die. Your body rapidly dissolves into fungal nonsense. You will immediately dissolve into fungus that then turns into spores that poof into the air. An amount of time later that I determine, you will randomly grow out of the ground at a certain radius from where you died as yourself.
That's awesome.
You will undergo a harrowing where you remember your connection to death and weird shit will happen to you and you have to regain your soul. But it doesn't actually, you have your memories, your character remains largely unchanged, and we just roleplay as creepy shit where you died.
So
However,
permadeath is not a thing?
However, your ass comes back naked and it might be 50 miles from the settlement and a bunch of trees.
Hell yeah!
There are powers and things in the game you can use to help fix that. Also, that's what morgues are for. They're psionic places of power in a settlement. You'll have to build one in your settlement when you've found it, where it helps repair you faster and there's a higher chance you reform there. After a certain number of... Every time you regenerate, though, they're like inferior degrading clones. After that first time, every subsequent time, I'm going to start penalizing your character sheet. Your body's going to start degrading. Eventually, and I won't tell you how many chances you get, you just come back as a zombie. And you're done. It's also how 1,000 years in the future, there's still zombies. Because even at that zombie stage, the zombie comes back. Every time you behead a zombie, he comes back as a zombie. Over and over and over again.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird world. You cannot permanently kill anyone or anything in this world. Whole new,
that's
whole new way of
weird.
approaching murder.
That's really weird.
This planet must be extremely overpopulated right now.
No, because the people who died before the fungus took over are truly dead.
Oh, well, so the fungus is what causes people to be
That's
reborn.
why you dissolve into fungus, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So when the nuclear war happened and 11 billion humans died, they're just dead. It's only the survivors that come back, and you don't repopulate real fast because you only live 30 to 50 years. And eventually you just become a zombie, wandering around out there somewhere, getting eaten by dinosaurs or whatever the hell's in the trees.
Zombie dinosaurs?
So, well-fed predators in the world.
Dinosaur now.
So, that's the bit of damage and death that should always be touched on in this game. It's amazing and weird.
Okay.
Cool.
And now we're gonna make characters.
Yay.
Step 1. Concept. You should determine what kind of character you want to play. You should summarize your concept in a few words or a phrase. A more specific concept helps when choosing or creating paths and assigning dots. Examples are naive but caring doctor, grizzled caravan driver, hard-nosed mechanic with a soft spot, snooty citified merchant, grungy scavenger. You need to work together to help balance each other's concepts. However, you also need to keep in mind, you're leaving the cities, making a trip of certain death through untracked wilderness to try to establish a place in a city most people think is a joke, just the name alone. The city in the clouds. So you don't want to make a high rootin' tootin' like I'm a pureblood and I like cities and look at my suit because that'd be really dumb. You wouldn't be in this caravan. You should be weird. You should be outcasts. You should be the exiles. So,
Gotcha.
come up with 4 concepts that fit a few words or a sentence, and I'll be right back.
So I'm thinking of this character. It's going to be a sun god paladin.
That sounds pretty dope, actually.
Yeah.
Is he like super overly confident too?
Yeah, he's overly confident sun god paladin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tiff, you said you had a character idea, right?
Okay, so I know I kind of already have an awkward person, but have you guys seen like the new version of She-Ra, Princess of Power on Netflix?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
I have not gotten to watch it yet. I hear amazing things though.
Okay, well, season 5 just dropped, so check it out. But I kind of want a character like Entrapta. She's extremely awkward, which is like fine. But I really want a character that's really mechanically inclined. So like really great with like tinkering with things, really great with technology, figuring things out. That's the one thing I love about Entrapta. There's like, they have these things where they call it the first ones. I've never watched the original series, so I don't know how much this show is like. Obviously I know it's based on that, but I think it's like a continuation of that series, not so much a reboot. But they have the thing where they call first ones tech, and Entrapta really tries to figure out how it works and how this technology like influenced what they currently have. And so she really kind of tries to figure things out and how things work and all that other stuff, and that's just really how I'm wanting my character to be, where he sees all this old tech from like the before and wants to figure out how to fix it, and so that he can help his people. I am wanting to make a male, that's it. Who can help fix his people, to make them better so that they're not, the technology is the future. If technology destroyed us, why can't it save us also?
Oh.
So I want him to be like very, technologically, sound, like really.
Make that one sentence with a few words and put it in the line. You see those 2 big long lines under paths? Those big empty long blank lines under society? Put it there.
Yes.
And yeah, you can fall under the role of the mechanic. I recommend a mechanic, a survivalist hunter, which Steve was thinking about, like a ranger. Somebody weird who maybe has divine or psionic powers. And then whatever 4th role you think would be useful. There are many, like a driver is useful. Person good with animals would be useful. You're gonna hit up a lot of civilizations, towns, settlements on your way. Bartering will happen. You may have side missions. So, a mouth might be useful.
Yeah, I looked at this a little bit earlier, and I did a lot of stuff jumped out to me. So if anyone else wants to do this, perfectly fine. But like my really short concept was Dystopia Ranger, basically. So it would be like a guy who mostly tries to live out in the wilderness, in the woods, does like tracking and hunting, and yeah, survivalist.
While you think about it, I'm also going to put, so everyone can see it and you guys, a map without a lot of locations marked of what the continent looks like. It's probably going to be useful.
I would like to rule Bartertown, so
you want to be the face.
I want to be Shifty Wasteland Merchant.
I like it. Write it down.
Where do I write this down?
There's 2 blank lines on your character sheet. Under paths, it says Strain Roll Society, and then there's 2 big blanks. That's what that's for.
Oh, okay. I don't need to use both lines, right?
No, it's just room for longer concepts. Can you see most of this, Steve, in the view window?
Yes.
Okay. And for you guys, you can zoom in as needed to look at it. But as you can see, Like a large chunk of the South is gone and it's just water now. The Great Lakes have become an ocean up north. Chunks of Michigan are gone. That's what all that is. So,
Would it
However-
be weird if my character was from Florida?
you could be wherever you wanted to be from originally, but you all live in Philadelphia when we start.
Okay, I'm a rat boy.
Billy
Huh.
Bill. Yeah.
Philadelphia.
I gotta be a rat boy. I'm sorry. Gotta represent.
Steve, it looks like Gainesville survived.
Gainesville will always survive.
Doesn't look like Orlando made it though.
I guarantee
No,
you that
Orlando did
they're
not.
still playing Gator games through all of this.
I can tell you this much, Sean. The Kingdom of the Rat was actually a seaside town. So, yeah, Orlando didn't make it if Disney is at the ocean now.
Hmm.
And the Kingdom of the Rat is literally what's
Wait.
left of all of the parks with a wall
Fuck,
around it.
I just got that.
Yeah,
You just got that?
it's all the Disney parks with a wall around them. That's literally what it is.
Kingdom of the Rat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Tyler, you can't say that word. So
What
Wow.
word?
the D word.
The D word.
Yeah, I can, unless I use it as a term in the game.
Wow. It. Mm. Okay.
Technically, he's not wrong.
No, every time he says the Rat King, I think of the Rat King from Turtles.
Turtles. Yes.
Yeah, so-
Yes.
That's fair.
You know.
All right, Dwayne, that leaves you. We got a face, a mechanic, and a ranger.
I was actually going for. I wanted to try one of the Psionices, but
Okay, I'm for it.
I don't know. Concept.
I would add some bit of personality to it. A lot of sinuses are weird and twitchy. Brain bleed, it's painful. Also, there's other weird side effects, like when you use psionic powers, you attract zombies, and if you keep using them, they will target only you. Because
Yay.
you're tapping into the hive mind of the fungus to do it. That might help you come up with a personality concept.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Pay for god powers. How weird do you want to go with it? You want to be like an actual zombie? That's one of the strains.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about that initially, but I kind of want to go with the, like, crazy church guy.
Oh, okay. Miracles work too, yeah. Those don't necessarily automatically attract zombies. They have other side effects.
You're like a weird evangelic guy.
The faiths aren't like the ones that exist now. The faiths are very weird, but miracles can happen through the
Okay.
faithful.
Wasn't there like, but wasn't I can't remember where I read
There
it.
is a
where it
whole
was like
list that we'll
they-
get
they
to when
were-
we get
they-
to that point.
pretty much where they worship the mind.
The hive mind? Yes.
Mind, yeah.
There's a hive mind.
Yeah, the thing we've been talking
Grave
about,
mind.
or the grave
Yeah.
mind that you tap into when you come back and you use psionics.
Yeah, it's like the way that- the only way through retribution is through our Zed friend.
Whoa.
I'm for that one too. That one might actually be more fun, especially if you ever finally start a settlement. The first thing you do is make a church to the zombies.
Oh God.
About that.
Absolution through ingestation.
See, you do that.
See,
while
there's your
my
concept right there.
character-
That's it. Done.
Boom.
Wait, he's
You worship
eating-
that. My character worships snakes. Old school Pentecostal.
None of those exist anymore. There are no Christian religions to fall back on. It's not allowed. Because
Can we just
use-
worship snakes in general?
No, you have to pick one of the existing religions.
Sweet
I'm-
Satan Christ.
This game explores bigotry and racism through the lens of religious bigotry, so we will not be using any real-world religions. Any.
Wait, there's an actual religion that just worships snakes.
Of course there is.
There's always a religion.
Yeah, no, I should have. I should have.
Are you good with that concept, Dwayne?
I am.
Okay.
Absolution through ingestation?
Ingestion.
Yeah.
Consumption of the
Ingestion.
flesh.
Yes.
Are you a cannibal?
He's a Zed. He's a Zed worshiper.
Worshiper.
He can eat animals. Doesn't have to be people.
But
Right.
it might be.
So, shh. Step 2. You need to choose aspirations. Aspirations in this game get you XP. Short-term aspirations are XP you should be getting every session or so. Long-term aspirations should be very hard to complete and take large chunks of the entire arc. Arc's the word for this game. To begin with, you need 1 long-term aspiration and 2 short-term. Just hit the plus sign under aspirations on the sheet and type them in. Short-term aspirations are something... So, I'm going to go over the whole thing. I know some of you have heard this. Aspirations are a player's goals for his character, not necessarily the character's goals, your goals as the player. They could be something your character would hate, doesn't matter. Achieving aspirations is the responsibility of the entire table. While a player should always be watchful for opportunities to achieve your aspirations, you should also be aware of chances to set up your fellow players to achieve theirs. If all of you achieve 1 short-term aspiration in the same act, you all get bonus experience 1 point each.
Oh shit.
Oh.
This is anytime this happens, not just once. I will also use your aspirations as guidance for how to move the story around. Secondly, aspirations should always push action, not restrict it. This means you should phrase it that aspiration is something you do, not something you don't do. Don't stop the caravan is bad. However, get the caravan to the outpost is good. Action, not unaction. Short-term aspirations are something you can achieve in a single act. Remember, there can be more than 1 act in a session. It should be quick. Always work with me, though, in case that thing is just going to come up. It could be a scene you want to see happen, an ability you want to use, a moment you think would be cool, like get into an argument about faith, use the psionic edge against a raider, scavenge parts for a weapon. Easy things. Long-term aspirations are something that takes most of the arc to achieve and is related to one of your paths. A long-term aspiration may be how a player would like to see your character grow or change. Become accepted into the new settlement as a citizen, get baptized into a new faith, create a new merchant company, overthrow an evil organization in your settlement, something like that. Long-term aspirations that are good in this one are get there, find the place, create a working city, big things like that. Survive the journey. See and survive an encounter with a unique super mutant monster. So think on those for a minute, work with each other, and then I will prove or disapprove any that need to be.
Okay, so this is what we want as a player, not as the character.
I think it's not necessarily as only the character. It can be something your character wants as an aspiration, but it doesn't have to be. It can be like something you as the player want.
It's just
Okay, yeah,
something
that's what
that
I'm
you.
wanting to make sure I'm
Yeah, it's something
understanding
you
that.
want to see happen in the game, basically.
Yeah, like one of my shorts is going to be convert someone to my faith.
That's awesome.
I would be sure to pick an easier one for your second short because that's going to be hard to complete in 1 act.
You never know.
Yeah,
Not possible, just hard.
I was actually going to make my long to take on an apprentice and train him in how to hunt, basically.
That's a good one, yes.
Yeah.
I would like to set up a trade route.
That's a good one,
Ooh,
too.
that's a good one. Good
Yes.
I think my character, maybe long term for this one, would be like figuring out an old piece of tech, like figuring out how it works and actually making it work.
Okay. That works. That won't be easy, so yeah.
Is there a-
Reconstruct of 57 Shelby.
You know what? Why not? Let's go for it.
I'll probably make it a vehicle because that's fun.
Okay.
What's up, Dwayne?
Is there a physical representation of the grave mine?
I don't know. Long-term aspiration could be to create an
Yeah.
effigy.
Yeah.
Create an effigy in New Denver.
Hmm.
Like create the actual like effigy and visualization of this concept that
Yes.
everyone
Yeah.
then follows. That's so cool.
Yeah. These are all approved. What you got for short terms?
For short term, I would like to barter for something expensive using something that is absolutely worthless.
Okay, approved. You should. This game is different than that came from Beneath the Sea. You should have 2. I only had you do 1 in that game because I wanted to. The way we started was weird.
I have so for my 2 shorts, I have talked to the group about living in the wilderness
Okay.
and feed my friends using the land.
Okay, approved.
Pretty good.
So I need 2 from Tiffany and 1 more from Dwayne and Sean. Each.
So I need 3 in total?
1 long term, 2 short term.
Okay.
I think I want to. I want to barter for like a better weapon or something like that for somebody in the group.
Okay. That's approved.
Maybe kind of playing off of the barter for a better weapon, maybe my character helps enhance the weapon. Or like helps enhance someone's gear.
That's better
Group?
than specifically a weapon, yeah.
Okay.
So 1 more for you, 1 more for Dwayne.
So I'm gonna change my convert to simply speak to someone about my
That's
faith.
good, yes.
That one. Yeah.
Make them listen to you proselytize, yes. These interaction ones are good too because you can all complete them in a scene that way.
Let's see, what would be my last one? Easy. Make friends.
Okay. Make a new friend. Done.
I want my other short one to have to do with Scion. Don't die. Don't die
No,
from
you-
using mind bullets.
Yes.
Problem with don't die is it's a negative. He's got to be a action.
Yeah.
And then that would be like survive encounter with psionics, to which I'd say that won't happen in the first session. It will happen though. First session, you're going to be not really out in the wilderness.
What is assuming psionicists are like more on the mind side than the more on resilience?
Psionics relies on resolve, yes. And the higher your resolve is, the more mental damage levels you get. Religion doesn't. Religion uses composure, I think, but it still gives you mental health levels. They're very different, require different edges. It'd be very hard to... Well, no, you could start with both. Wouldn't be easy, but you could do it with both religion and psionics. And then you can easily enhance it with your XP.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we build the character right with the correct paths, you'll have lots of psionics and religion.
I don't know. Somebody help me out here.
What are we doing?
So, Dwayne needs 1 more short-term aspiration. So if it helps any, your first full session next week will be bringing all the people together that want to do this, organizing the caravan, collecting supplies for the caravan, and beginning the journey.
What's your first short term?
Make someone listen to me about my faith.
Consume flesh.
No, his first one is to preach to someone.
Right. What I'm saying is your second short term. Couldn't it be to
Oh,
consume flesh
yes.
or
could be that easy,
Wow,
yes.
Are
we're
we
just
gonna
getting
be
right, we're
very
just getting right into it.
Are we gonna
I mean-
get very specific with it being like human flesh or just flesh in general? Because that could also stand for like chicken,
Raw.
you know,
I would
horse.
require for him to be raw. Because
Raw.
Zombies eat raw, but I don't care what the source is.
Okay, then I would go for it.
That's only if that's just an idea. You don't have to use it.
No, that's good. I'll be starting well on my way to absolution.
Can I put a
You'll
twist
have
on that
no
one
light.
for you? Is that the flesh is of Steve's character?
Oh my god.
Maybe make that the arc, the long term. Consume Steve.
Consume Steve. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh no!
That was
Step 2.
You know what? I'm
Just
gonna go to that other settlement just right over there. It's not there yet, but I'm gonna go make one just over there. And,
I will find you.
I'm gonna go down to Colorado Springs. You guys stay in Denver.
Yeah, I'm more of a Boulder man myself.
I will find you.
Okay. Step 2. Paths. Paths represent a series of decisions you have made or experiences you've had over the course of your lives. They are the way you define yourselves. Connected to those decisions and experiences are people and resources that each of you can access. This game, all story path game have paths. This game has 3. Your strain, your role, and your society. Your strain and your society have ranks. The higher they go, the more stuff you get. Your role is just set. You get beginning stuff, and that's it forever. Sorry. Each path is significant to you and reflects a major commitment of your life. A path can be a single word or a short phrase that summarizes the nature of your experiences. Each path consists of the following elements: a short description of it, 4 associated skills, which is why there's empty space next to each skill. You can write the path that it's connected to. Strain and society paths give you a community, a contact, and access connections. And then you'll get 2 edges automatically. Strain paths will give you 1 edge, and then your lineage gives you the second. It's the same thing. And then your role path gives you your starting gear. When it comes to edges, we should also mention you'll get 6 edges total from all 3 of your paths. If the edge has a dot rating, you gain the first dot. If 2 paths give you the same edge, you get a second dot. If it's not variable, then we'll have to pick a different edge at the same or lesser value that we think fits. First of all, we're going to pick your strain path. This reflects your unique history, your upbringing, and the mutation that allows you to survive in the wastes. Each strain represents how your family survived the fall, and the subsequent way you view the wastes. It influences your opinions about others and your approach to survival, as well as giving you a terrible weakness. You all start with 1 dot in your strain path, so you can check that off, and then we will go and pick strains. While you fill in that first dot, I'm going to say strains are not real-world races. Strains are the evolution of humanity born out of where they sheltered and stayed during the outbreak. Strains evolve unique attributes and traits, nothing to do with race. Any race or skin color can belong to any strain. So racism in this game is expressed through strainism. But that doesn't mean it's anything to do with your skin color. It's more your weird mutations and the shit that makes you look strange and gives you superpowers.
Any of the strains Chimeran?
Sort of. So, here are the strains. The Devoted. They break down into the Accensorites, the Unborn, and the Red Stars. They are religious. The Elitariate. These are the assholes that aren't going to be very useful in this game to any of you. The Vegetarians, the Purebloods, and the Celestros. They're not the type who would wander off trying to find it. The Evolved. These are the Irons, the Unstable, and the Reclaimers. A lot of muscle going on there. The Gorgers. This does not mean not gypsies. This means you're a zombie, full dead, semper mort, and Lascarians. They either look like zombies, or in some cases, they're zombies that retain their personality. The Landsmen. These are the Americans, the quiet folk, and the natural ones. These are the farmers, the salt of the land, the rangers. Steve will be one of these. The Mutants. These are the remnants, the tainted, and the retrogrades. These are the really weird ones. The Nomads. These are the diesel jocks, the saltwise, and the rovers. The strain's not adept to staying in one place.
I'm not gonna lie, Diesel Jock really
Sounds
called out
awesome.
to me. It sounds
Yeah.
so awesome.
And then you have the Townies, the Baywalkers, the Vegasians, and the Yorkers. So first we're going to deal with the Devoted. Dwayne, pay attention.
Yeah, I've already read Unborn.
Okay. if you know the one you want, just pick it. We don't need to read through all of these. It would take all night. So if you're good with the Unborn, then you get it. You get Psionicist at 1 dot as an edge. And your strain condition is not like the others.
Why does it say Sinus is 2 dot?
Because, wait.
It should for your edge, right?
Yeah.
So on its page, it's an edge. So if you read the page number, it should tell you what that does for you, I think.
Well, all of your edges will start at 1 dot, but they can go to 2. It doesn't automatically start at 2.
Okay.
I'm looking for the main. Okay, here it is. Your skills are close combat, integrity, lore, and medicine, and your other edge is meditation. Alright. Militarians are stupid. Unless somebody wants to be a pure-blooded Digitarian or Celestros.
Not gonna lie, as soon as you said that they're dumb and you don't want them in this game, now I want to play that one of those assholes. It's like, no, the city in the sky exists and it will be mine, and I will build it into the next great metropolis, and all you idiots are gonna be sitting here in Old York like a bunch of dum-dums.
So we're all eating Steve, right? Like
that's probably how that would end up, yes.
Okay, cool. Just
However,
checking.
I keep saying they're dumb and stupid. I mean, they're fun to play. They're this is for people watching. They're like, crap. Vampire the Masquerade. Help me out, Tiffany.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, the Sombra?
La Sombra and the Ventru. They're really rich. We control the vampire populations. You call them assholes because their characters are, but they can still be fun to play.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the Evolved. Steve, did you figure out which one you want to pick?
I did, yes.
Which one are you picking?
I am in fact going to be a landsman, and I will be a natural one.
Oh, okay, so you're not going to be evolved. Tiffany, do you want to be a super strong kind of person? They do have a lot of connections that are like engineers and scientists and scavengers. They were the ones who used to work in the shops that created like steam trains and technology and stuff.
Oh.
There's 3 kinds of subsets. Irons, Reclaimers, and Unstable. And one of them glows in the dark.
I want that one.
Okay.
I want to be a walking glow stick, please.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, no. 2 of them glow. Do you want to glow blue or green?
Can I flip for it?
Sure, roll a D2. It's got to tell us which is which.
Okay. 1 is gonna be blue, and a 2 is gonna be the green.
Okay.
1 it is.
Blue, okay. So, your skills, next to these 4 skills, you should write Evolved or Unstable, either one, because your strain is unstable.
Okay, so strain.
And then the 4 skills are Athletics.
And that's evolved, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Close Combat. Command. Technology. There was a problem with the email, Steve, for that side chat, so yeah, if you can send her one, that'd be cool.
I don't have command.
Is that not on there? If it's not on there, you can probably just add it.
Okay, yeah, because I've got like close combat, I have athletics, empathy, culture, firearms, integrity, leadership, persuasion, pilot, lore, medicine.
Right.
Survival.
I'll tell Nathan it's missing one. Add it under skill tricks.
Okay, and what was it called again?
Command.
Command.
Dwayne, don't put dots. You don't get free dots in those. Those are just tied to your strain. So you need to put the word strain in the white box.
Got it.
Yeah, you will not get dots in all of them to begin with. If you click to the left, you'll see a floating invisible dot. That'll clear it. Yeah. You will not be able to get points in all of them at character creation, but as you level up, you can get them as a set. That's why it has you mark them. Okay. And then...
Okay, so it's just the 3 that I was getting?
What?
Just the 3?
4. Athletics, Close Combat, Command, and Technology.
Got it.
Does this have leadership? Yeah, so leadership is command. It's just the wrong word.
Got it.
Okay. Your 2 edges are built to last, which we'll go over in a minute. You can just add them as edges for now.
Mm-hmm.
And adrenaline spike.
Okay.
And your strain condition is better than you. Strain condition should go. I have to ask him to add a spot for that. Put it in the white box next to your. Well, no, that's already got something in it.
I put it underneath my paths.
Yeah, do that. Put it in the other box underneath pass. That's a good idea. Yeah, the second empty box.
Okay, because there's a. It says pass and it says strain.
That's
and
where
then
you should
up
put
top,
the name of your strain. Yeah.
Okay. But then up top, like where the player name is, there's also another one that says strain.
Yeah, you could use that one. That works for you.
Okay.
And while you do
The
that, I'm going to
strain is
read you your little
unstable.
blurb, since you don't have the book yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that to you. I'm sorry.
The
No, you're
unstable. We believe that we are the pinnacle of all strains. Yes, we were engineered from remnants in a concentrated form of the infection. That does not make us lesser to others. It makes us something more. We were created to be the very best in evolution. The first of us could not live long without the aid of a life support chamber, but they had extraordinary abilities. They could cause psionics to work on their behalf and could control the undead. We are their descendants, and while these powers are much diminished, we can survive by ourselves without support. Our blood glows a faint blue in color, the result of how our forefathers were first made. It is a sign of the concentration of infection in our veins. The same concentration that gives me power over you. So you're kind of an asshole.
Jeez.
Okay, so my guy's from the south, and he thinks he's better than everyone.
Yep.
I see no difference.
Gorgers! Dwayne, you said you picked one? Oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Sean, as the face, you don't want to be a zombie. So skip those. Hard to be the face when people don't want to look at you and are terrified of you.
Kind of, but I'm a face, but I'm also like really into the merchant thing. But I'm looking at diesel jocks, and they just they're so fucking cool.
Steve, which one did you pick again? Of the landsmen?
The natural ones.
Okay, I'm just gonna read out your stuff for anybody watching.
Okay.
His skills are athletics, close combat, persuasion, and survival. His 2 edges are danger sense and hardy, and his strain condition is Luddite. You going with Diesel Jock, Sean, or are you still thinking?
I mean, I'm thinking.
I mean, Nomad's fit for merchants.
Yeah, I just feel like just being always able to go. Somebody over there selling a car, I can feel it. Is like the best.
Okay.
So,
in the white boxes next to your 4 skills, right, Diesel Jock, just so you know what it's tied to.
So I'm just picking 4 skills?
No, it's listed. You get athletics, pilot, science, and technology.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Page 38.
Where'd that go? Hold on. Things are exploding. Diesel. Okay, I'm sorry. What is it again?
Athletics,
Athletics,
pilot,
pilot. Okay.
Science,
Okay.
technology.
Technology. Cool. I dig it.
Your edges are wasteland connections.
Wasteland connections. Okay.
And catch a ride.
Yeah, catch a ride. That one. Ride.
And your strain condition is don't touch my stuff.
Right. I saw that. Like if somebody fucks up my car, it's bad news.
All right.
Where do I put? What's the third one's called a what? What's the
Your strain condition.
strain
We don't have a
condition?
box for it yet, so there's a bonus space under your paths. There's also 2 places for strains. under paths and at the top of the sheet. Either one of those works.
What was it? Yeah.
Don't
I'll
touch
just
my
look it up.
stuff.
Don't touch my stuff.
I'm going to go over what these are. Hold on 1 second. I can take care of that issue we're having inside there.
Thank you.
I
Sorry.
actually have the spare copy. They sent us because they knew they couldn't get it to one of us.
Okay, thank you.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, how many points do I get? It's the 3 points or whatever it is.
I haven't got that far yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm going to go over strain conditions for you all real quick. I'm going to tell you what page it's on so you don't have to wait for me to tell you to type it. Tiffany, page 43. Better than you. Whenever you are treated as inferior, you are so bad, you have a +1 difficulty to all mental rolls. And then
I respect that.
It will describe a momentum trigger. Momentum, so it's a dice pool that everyone can feed into that the group can use as a whole. So like, when bad things happen, you get a dice pool that stacks, that then as a group, somebody can say, I want to use the momentum pool to do a stunt or to cast a sonic power. The group has to vote to allow you to do it, and then you can pull out up to half the dice all at once to do that thing. So when your conditions say momentum trigger, whenever better than you is triggered, you get the penalty, but you also get a dice in your momentum pool.
Okay, cool.
And then resolution is what has to happen for it to stop. For you is apology, leaves, or treats you as an equal. All right.
Mine says none.
What's yours, Dwayne?
Not like the others. Plus
Not
one
like the others, okay.
difficulty when rolling to establish or build a bond with somebody.
Yeah, yours is just, that's, anytime that happens, you get a dice and it just never goes away, right? Alright. Don't touch my stuff! You're always tinkering with the pet project, which means you always have something to obsess over, Sean. If it's damaged, stolen, or otherwise available, +1 to all mental rolls until the situation is rectified. You can change obsessions between stories. This arc will have about 3 stories. Getting halfway, and then the other half of the halfway, and then building the city. The trigger to give you momentum is if you know the condition happens, and the resolution is it's fixed, returned, or made available, or you switch obsessions. What's yours,
Yeah,
Steve?
it's probably good.
Luddite?
It's probably going to be in my car.
Yes, a Luddite.
Whenever
Which I looked
interacting with technology, you're forced to use a tech device. +1 to all rolls.
Yeah,
Resolution none.
+1 difficulty to all rolls.
Yep. Sorry, difficulty, yes.
Yeah.
And that's all 4 of you. Okay. Strain's done. Next we do roll paths. The roll path is your occupation or area of expertise. It's what you do, either your personal vocation or the part you play in the group or community. These do not have dots, but they will give you 2 edges and 4 related skills. Page 64 for you guys. I've got a cool thing just for that. And basically, this one isn't tied to your strain. You need to work together though to pick one so you don't all have the same one. But you can pick whatever one you want. So look them over while I do this thing real quick.
Well, what page was the rolls again? I'm sorry.
64.
64. Thank you.
It's uploading, Tiffany. It's going to take a second.
Not a problem. Though, because we keep talking about zombies, I just read the name Brian, and I immediately saw the word brain.
Appropriate.
I mean, I think I found the exact one I'm looking for here. If it's okay.
Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, if it's okay with everybody, I'll take the role of primitive. Capable of finding the right spots to bed down at night, where the good game runs, and where to avoid the Zed hordes. He doesn't ride a caravan, but he can get you from point A to point B, mostly intact and well fed.
It definitely sounds like the concept that you have in mind.
Now, for all of you, once you pick one, those 4 skills, write down, roll next to those 4 skills so you know what they are, and then add your edges, and then add your gear. This won't be the only gear you get, but this is the majority of it. These are the important things.
You have 2 issues though, Tyler.
Yep.
2 of the skills that I get from natural or from landsman are the same as primitive. So what do we do there?
In those instances, you can either get more dots for those skills if you want, or you can pick different ones that you think fit the concept. So it's up to you.
Okay.
It'll basically be either double up on dots now and in the future, or pick other ones that you think fit.
I'm going to swap out close combat from the roll with firearms for...
Yeah, that'd be my first choice, yep.
Okay. Ooh, there's an engineer role.
Fine. I will stab you. I mean, I will... No, I'll stab you. I try to be nice about it. I can't do it.
You know, you tried, and that's what we appreciate.
Did I try, though? Did I?
So many good ones that I could pick.
No.
I think I want to be the politician.
What page were these on? I'm sorry.
64.
Thank you.
Yep, going politician.
Alright, so we got a politician. He's got an engineer.
I think it might be the publican, actually.
Okay. Publican, engineer, primitive. What about you, Dwayne?
Oh, mad scientist is also a good one.
I was either thinking Jones or Scoundrel.
I don't know how much Scoundrel will help in this adventure, because it's not going to be a majority of time in preordained settlements. The last third. Jones, however, yeah, that's useful.
Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with engineer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Publican is fine for you, Sean, because you'll always have people with you in the caravan, unless you get them all killed.
Oh my god.
Well, what you see had happened.
What were you going to say, Dwayne?
Oh, I was going to say, that's probably how he decided to follow this faith.
Okay.
Like, going into all these ruins. And like, oh, look at the Zeds.
So you get athletics, firearms, lore, and technology, a grapnel hook and a shiv, and balance, step, and scavenger edges. Okay. Sean gets academics, culture, empathy, and subterfuge. All good for being a merchant. 3 ups, which is universal money, a heavy jacket, and then your edges are entertainer and time sense. Tiffany gets close combat, integrity, pilot, technology.
My question is, with the skills, integrity, and pilot, which are the ones I'm getting new, would those be also evolved, or would they be regular?
If they overlap, you can either get extra points for them, or you can pick different
No,
ones.
not overlapped, because I just know my athletics is right down as evolved. My close combat is written as evolved.
These are
I'm just
your,
running
these are your roll. All 4 of these are your roll.
Okay, but I'm just like, do I just get a dot in them then?
No, you just write the word engineer next to them in the white space.
Okay. And then the ones that overlap, what do I do with those?
You either write both words next to them or pick different ones. It's up to you. If they overlap, you'll get more points.
I'll just do the overlap then.
Okay. Her gear is claw, hammer, and tools, and she gets ambidextrous and working smarter edges.
We have not assigned any dots yet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They will not assign dots till we get all the paths chosen.
Perfect.
Last but not least, society paths. These are a connection each of you has to an organization. This one we'll have to go over for the ones that will apply the best to a traveling caravan, but this is your chosen group of people and defines your perspective on everything from how one should live to what one should do to be part of society. You can belong to any number of them, but a path indicates a stronger tie to that one than any of the others. You will start with one dot in this, just like you have one dot in your strain. Temporary pause to make sure everybody gets their other stuff typed out. Okay, these start on page 66. Some have restrictions, so pay attention to those. You can't take them if you don't meet the prerequisite. And I will tell you ones. I'm gonna skip ones that none of you can be, anyways. I'll tell you the ones that probably aren't very useful.
I found Tiffany's.
Tell her.
Found nothing.
Well, yeah, no, only if you want it. But page 67, the very first one, Crafters of Alexandria, seems pretty awesome.
Oh, I just got really sad.
Oh.
I just remembered the Library of Alexandria got burned down. We could have been so far technologically advanced if that didn't happen.
Dead Site Society, nobody can take that.
I'm sad now.
Murder Inc., nobody can take that.
Boo.
I'm gonna have to take that one now. My character's gonna randomly start crying about it. Thanks, Steve.
I'm sorry.
Because of Dwayne's character, I don't recommend anyone take the site.
What's the site?
Undead plague the land, they must all be destroyed.
Oh, jeez.
It's all
And
be
then,
nice now.
Trade union, nobody can take that. All the rest are open if you meet the prerequisites. Trade union isn't what you think it is, Sean.
Capitalism.
I could not have said this any better.
Trade
The
union
path
requires
to-
connections to senators, which is the problem, is you won't have a home until the second third. And remember how you can change these later in the game. You can switch to trade union once you establish a new den.
Well,
But for
I'm
now,
the
it's
black
useless.
market, so
Yeah. That's perfectly fine. Dwayne?
suck it.
What did you find, Dwayne?
I was just gonna say I couldn't have said this any better. The path to immortality is through the grave mine.
Oh,
Which one?
boy.
Servants of the Undying.
So for Sean's, he gets athletics, culture, persuasion, and subterfuge's skills, and the Edge's mentor and tavern brawler.
What happens if I double up on one?
You can either double up on it and you'll get more points when we get to that section, or you can pick other ones that you think fit. And if you want to keep it spread out. Book rule is you replace them with two others, but I let you double them up and just have more dots. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm gonna switch out athletics for close combat or firearms.
Okay. Which one, Dwayne? Servants of the Undying?
It was either Servants of the Undying or the Psionicist Guild.
Sinus's Guild gets you that edge.
Which I already have.
Oh, well, you'd have the two dots in it then, which means you'd
Oh.
have more free edges later on to buy religion edges with.
Woohoo!
The reason that matters is the Psionicist edge and the Faith edge are required in order to get the sub edges. So, like, if you want to be a biokineticist, you can never have more dots in biokinetics than you have in Scientist.
Hmm.
So more dots is better. However, Servant to the Undying is kind of perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really up to you.
So what happens if you double up on a skill?
You'll have more points to spend when we get to the dot phase, and when you level up, you'll have twice the chance to increase those skills with your XP.
Okay.
I'm gonna triple up in technology, yo.
Really though, if you get to the triple up stage, you're not gaining any benefit.
Aww.
You'll see why when we get to how XP works. Doubling up, there's still some good benefit. Because basically one of the ways you can spend XP is you can raise your path. When you raise the path, you get a pile of points for those 4 skills. So if you raise both paths, some of those skills get double the points. But when you triple up, you're not really going to spend XP that way. You're kind of losing out. And or you're going to hit 5 dots in the skill and suddenly it's not a benefit anymore.
More dots.
I thought more dots was a good thing.
More
Not if
dots.
you get too high too fast.
Oh, I
Which
mean,
one,
if you get
Steve?
too high too fast, I mean, get stuck.
What was I looking at?
Lone Star Rangers?
Yeah, no.
Oh, those have to be Americans? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. Plus that was all about killing outlaws and being real
I would not, yeah.
justice-y and just killing people thing. I think I'm gonna go with Road Crew.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, doesn't participate in the race. He makes the race happen. He's the one who finds the worst routes, the hardest to find waypoints, and then stocks those with munitions and resources racers need to survive. He might not be a racer himself, but he's a damn good survivor. So just kind of, again, leaning into that concept of he's out there to help other people survive in the wilderness as much as possible.
Perfect. So Steve will get close combat, firearms, pilot, tech. He'll probably trade some of those. And his edges will be adrenaline, spike, and scavenger. I assume you're going to trade some of those since those are all double ups.
Well, so I traded out most of my roll.
Okay.
So I actually am going to double up on close combat and firearms.
Okay.
And then I guess I have to take technology.
This is hilarious.
Which is hilarious. You know, that's, it comes with the job. I don't understand. Other people need it, and I get that, but I don't want to deal with it.
My question, since I'm gonna end up tripling up in technology.
Don't triple up, pick a different skill.
Well, no, I know. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, instead of tripling, can I just take that one, the extra technology, and dump it in science?
Right, you would replace that with science, and then next to science you would write roll or whichever one of these you're giving that
Okay.
in the white space.
Just want to make sure. Then I'm good on that.
Which one did you pick?
I actually truly did like what Steve had picked, the Crafters of Alexandria. It
Tiffany
fits
gets
my characters in, like, perfectly.
Tiffany will get lore, persuasion, survival, and science for skills, and her edges are lightning calculator and scavenger. So Dwayne, which one?
I
Have
don't
to roll a
know.
D2 again.
I know. Yeah. So, 1 will be Servants of the Undying, 2 the Science.
Okay.
There we go.
What'd you get?
Scientist it is.
So he will get athletics, medicine, science, and survival, and he will get acute sense and a second dot of the science stage. Alright. Now that you have all 3 of your paths, we move on to skills, skill tricks, and specialties. You gain 3 dots among each set of 4 skills. So start with your strain skills, and you get a total of 3 dots to put in any way you want in those 4 skills. 1 dot, 3 of them, 2 and 1, all 3 and 1 in the 4 skills, it doesn't matter. But you get 3 dots total to put in those 4 skills. Some of them you won't have any dots in.
3 dots per.
3 dots per block of 4, correct.
Got it.
So you get 3 dots per each block of 4. 9 points total.
Each block of 4.
Yeah,
Oh.
you should have been marking along as you went along, whether it was a strain, a roll, or a society skill.
Yeah, your strain gives you 4 skills, roll gives you 4 skills, society gives you 4 skills. So for
That's
those
why you have to
specific
mark
sets
them
of
that way.
4,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You will not have enough points to put points in all 4 of any block. You gotta pick and choose.
Okay, so I'm stupid, and I'm just gonna blame the fact that it's 1 o'clock in the morning that I can't comprehend what you're saying.
Did you put your roll next to each block of 4 skills? Your sheet should say like, restrain
Yeah,
next.
no. Like I was putting that like I put like athletics. I put the word evolved in the
Right.
empty space.
So for each of those 4 words that match, you have 3 points for those skills. You won't have enough points for all 4 skills. You got to decide how to do them.
So each word that matches.
Yep. All 4 of your strain skills, you have 3 points total. All 4 of your roll skills, you have 3 points total, and all 4 of your society skills, you have 3 points total.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
have,
everything that doubles up then.
No. All 4
you
of
have you have
Oh.
3 points to spend per strain, roll, and society. So if you're for your strain, you look at those skills that are up top, and you put 3 points into one of those 4 into 3 of those 4 skills.
Okay.
You have 4 skills labeled evolved. You have 3 points for those. There's no way you'll be able to put dots in all of them. You have to pick and choose. You can put 1 dot in 3 of the 4. You can put 2 dots in one in another, or you can put all 3 dots in one of the 4. But for those 4 evolved skills, 3 points.
So 3 dots total each.
No, 3 dots for each set of 4, not for each skill. So right now you've spent 3 dots in your evolved. Evolved is done. So now you get 3 dots for the engineer marked ones.
Okay.
And now you get 3 dots for your COA marked ones.
Okay. I think I got. Okay. Yeah.
And then once you're done, you get 6 additional dots to put in any skill you want. When you're done, you should have spent 15 points. So you can make sure you did it right by counting your skill dots, and if it equals 15, you're good.
You said 6
6 freebies, correct.
in anything or just the ones
Anything,
that...
even outside of your paths. Yep.
Okay.
What the hell did I do?
Yep. Then you get 6 more, Tiffany, to go anywhere you want.
Okay.
You figured it out. You're good.
Okay.
I was watching.
Okay. Yeah, because like I started losing count, so like I removed it.
Yeah, you're good right now.
Okay, and I got 6 more to go.
It doesn't matter where you put those 6.
Okay. Now, integrity means like how like something holds together, or like how someone like generally feels about something.
That's another thing we can go over if any of you aren't sure. By the way, just ask. I have a doc for that. So integrity is the skill used in opposition to persuasion and leadership. A person with lots of integrity is naturally resistant to being convinced, commanded, tricked, or intimidated. So 1 dot's a bit of nerve, 3 dots is a steel will and iron heart, 5 dots is nobody tells you what to do.
Man, I'm stuck between points in leadership or integrity. Because I feel like with leadership and then being a scout and, going up ahead, being able to like get people to react quickly to what needs to get done to get through an area, but integrity as well to like.
Minor spoiler: integrity helps resist certain psionic powers.
Yeah, I assumed that was the case. But
Roll a D2.
I'm looking over here, see what I can find.
I have one more dot, and I don't know where I should put it.
I'm gonna roll with my first thought. Not make any changes. Tyler should be good.
I'd do science if it was me, Tiffany, because that's something your character's into, hardcore, old world stuff.
Oh my god, yes. So science and technology would be an
Be
even 3 for both of them. That'd be really nice.
So Dwayne's done. Steve's done.
Yeah.
What about you, Sean?
Good.
Right, so next you all get one free starting skill trick. This can only apply to a skill with at least 3 points. Skill tricks are beginning on page 70.
I don't have a plus sign to add a skill trick.
Skill tricks, the plus sign's below it. It's in a weird spot.
Oh, okay, that's really
Yeah, it's
weird.
really low, yeah.
I literally
It
had to
depends on how
click the
you
lock
It
in
depends
order
how
for
you
it to pop
stretch
up.
your sheet out too, yeah. So basically, jump to page 70, find one of your skills you have 3 dots in, take one free trick. You can buy more as you level up.
We get-
Basically, each skill has 3 tricks associated.
So we get one of each.
You get 1 total.
One total. Well, damn, I gotta
Yeah.
pick.
What the hell?
So you should pick between science and technology, Tiffany. For instance, all of you should pick something that's part of your thing. So
Why?
for instance, Tiffany, technology is building tomorrow. You can make things really fast. Master crafter, record speed, and with crap materials you can make good things. And patch job is easy to repair. And then science, the 3 are analyze compound, figure out what a thing is. Chop, how to salvage the best parts from just about anything. Techno savant, which allows you to add your science skill to your technology skill when rolling crafting new gear.
That sounds more useful, honestly.
So then you could just put techno savant next to science, or however much of that you can get to fit. And then
Yeah, I'm gonna do that because my
okay.
technology is at a 3. So if I can add a +1 to that to make it a 4, that sounds to me more useful when trying to figure things out. Heck, I might even, if my character lives long enough, like keeps their sanity, I might have the cure, or end up becoming a villain. Who knows?
Or both.
Both is also a thing.
Did you 3 find one to pick yet?
I'm going with trade ties.
Okay, I like it.
Trying to figure out why my short aspiration is moving all over the place.
Probably because you're stretching the sheet. Sometimes so character sheets in Roll20, depending on how you build them, stretch weird if you pull it out certain directions. This one, for instance, can go up and down real easy, but if you go left and right, it gets weird. It's just part of how Nathan coded it.
Why?
If he
Who
doesn't
is?
do that, the borders don't work right and it looks terrible.
We're doing our connections right now.
No, your skill tricks.
Skill tricks. Oh, shh.
You get 1 skill trick from the list on page 70. It must be with a skill that has at least 3 points. If you don't have any skills with 3 points, you don't get one.
That is unfortunate.
Just realize, guys, my character has 0 in empathy. Okay.
That doesn't
So,
mean you're
like-
unempathetic, that just means you're bad at it.
Exactly. He's not gonna. He's not. Remember, he's from the deep south. He's an
Also,
asshole.
Any skills you have at 4 or 5 dots requires a specialty. 1 specialty for 4 dots, 1 for 5. I doubt anyone has anything that high yet, in case you do.
I will be there, probably next level.
Yeah. Steve doesn't have to worry about it, so that just leaves Dwayne.
What?
Skill trick.
What?
I have skill
Mine's
check.
on there.
What? Oh, I didn't hear you tell me what you picked. I
Oh,
wanted you to tell us.
defensive maneuvering, because that's the only. Athletics was the only one I had 3 in.
What'd you pick, Steve?
I picked Wasteland Bounty. This character has extensive expertise, allowing him to survive in the harshest of climates. Activate the skill trick when in a wilderness location to automatically find enough food and water for 1 person to survive 1 day.
Perfect. Attributes. Attributes represent different ways of acting and how adept you are at each. There's 9 of them in 3 arenas: physical, mental, and social. You must decide first which is more important. Physical, which is secondary, which is more important of the 3 for primary, which of the 3 is secondary, and which is tertiary or last.
This is the columns thing?
Up and down,
Yeah.
not left and right, yes.
Yeah.
You get 1 dot in each to start. And then, based on which is primary, secondary, and last, I will tell you the rest of your dots.
Quick question for you. With survival, I know these don't have a 1-for-1, like 1 skill is attached to 1 attribute. But what do you think?
Survival is going to be more finesse than anything.
More finesse?
Yeah. Now, when it comes to physical, mental, or social, it's going to be physical. Well, no. Physical and mental are kind of tied, actually. It's never going to use social.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, whichever of the 3 categories is your primary, 6 points, in addition to the free 1. Secondary,
get
4
1
points.
free?
You get 1 free in all 9, yes. In your primary, you get 6 more total. Secondary, 4 more. Tertiary, 2 more. 6, 4, 2.
Wow, I am so dumb.
Mental
Or like
for
I
you.
really.
You should be mental primary, and then the other 2 is really up to you. But your character needs mental to be primary.
Okay.
Which means intellect, cunning, and resolve. Those 3, put 1 dot in each, and then add 6 more. However you want. Across the 3. It could be 3, 3, and 3, or it could be 2, 4, or 3, whatever combination.
Okay, so I have 6 more dots to put anywhere?
No, in intellect, cunning, and resolve only.
Your tertiary is only 2 points, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They all
so-
start with 1,
Uh-huh.
and then you get 6 more after that.
Okay. So I get 6 points total to stick anywhere.
Among intellect, cunning, and resolve, yes.
Okay.
Easiest way is 3, 3, and 3, but you can get weird with it if you want. And then for your secondary, nope, 6 total. Max you could do is 3 points in each.
That's like I'm honestly I have sleep brain right now, so I'm like really confused. I legit like the thing zoned out for like 5 seconds. I'm so sorry.
And then your secondary, whether it's physical or social, 4 more points for those 3. This one's really up to you.
So 4 points for the secondary.
If you want to be an asshole, then put it in physical.
We Tyler, because it is getting late. Like we can finish up one of the characters, but if anyone's having difficulty, we can always come back and just get it done before next session.
Yeah,
right?
you can bail if you need to.
Well, thankfully I don't have to go to work until 3. So I think I'll be okay.
At the pace we're moving, we'll be done before 2, by the way.
Yeah.
If we keep this pace up.
I'm just sorry. I didn't even realize I zoned out. I'm so sorry.
No, that's completely okay. It is late, so it's no problem.
So do you want to be an asshole? If so, put 4 points in those physical 3. Might, dex, and stamina.
I mean, I kind of want to, but like, I kind of don't. I want him just to be like a cute little like nerd, but like if you push him, he like after he gets to a certain point, he will beat your head over with a wrench and tell you to stay down. Like that's kind of like what I want to go for. If that makes any sense. Like
If you want to be able to threaten someone with a wrench, you need physical. 2 points won't be enough.
okay.
Whichever you make last, they're gonna suck.
I'm gonna give him asthma, so his stamina is gonna be low.
Just remember, if you do that, soaking damage will be real bad for you.
Yes. Yes, it will.
In that case, yeah. With 4 points, you can put 2 in might, 2 in dex.
Or do I want to just make him not that flexible?
Dex is very important to your skill set.
Okay. So one definitely goes in there.
Strength is the least important thing, actually, for your character. But if you want to hit people with wrenches, you need it. But you're never going to roll might when you're rolling technology or science. It's going to be dex or intellect or cunning most of the time.
Now, the word resolve, that's just like how someone feels about something, like they're just like, they have
No,
to
that's
resolve
mental
to go through
fortitude.
something? Okay.
Resolve is mental fortitude, stamina is physical fortitude, and composure is social fortitude.
Wait, what? Say that again?
The bottom 3 are resilience, resistance. The middle 3 are finesse. And the top 3 are force.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually kind of like a little cool matrices sort of like attribute system where the columns are like, but then also the rows are like. So.
Yep.
You know, just the reason I asked is because I was tempted to take one out of resolve and stick it into intellect, so I can have 4, 3,
You can
and
do
2.
that.
Yeah.
Boop. Did it.
And then you still need 3 more for your second column, might, dex, and
I
stamina.
know. Okay, I'm gonna do there.
Alright, and then you need 2 total for the last 3.
Oh my god. Now, what presence just means how intimidating my character seems, right?
Nope. Presence is force of personality, how well you're noticed when you're in the room.
Oh, I don't want to be noticed at all.
Manipulation is how well you get people to do what you want. Composure is how well you can resist being forced to do what you don't want.
Okay, and I get 2 points?
Yep.
Boop, done.
I see Dwayne's done. What about you two?
Yep, I'm good.
Alright, so next. For the 3 sideways categories, force, finesse, and resilience, pick your favorite. Add 1 dot to all 3 of those. So for you, Tiffany, your most useful are finesse, but resilience is also useful. So Tiffany, you can either add 1 point to intellect, might, and presence, or 1 point to cunning, dex, and manipulation, or 1 point to resolve, stamina, and composure.
My intellect would be a 5 if I picked it.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is amazing
Which is
because
fine.
I have. This is amazing
would
because I
feel
have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you sound more excited than I do, Steve. Go ahead.
It's just the way my attributes broke down is no matter what I pick, I have 1 attribute that I'm just like, ah, I don't know where to. Sorry, that's.
I'm gonna stick with finesse because then I have,
That's a good choice for your character.
yeah, I'm gonna have 4 in intellect, 4 in cunning, 4 in dexterity, and then 2 in manipulation.
And then, last but not least, 1 free point to put in any of the 9. If you want to. That way you can make something really good or make sure you don't totally suck at something.
Yes, I could totally have 5 in intellect. I could be such a nerd.
And then if you want to double check your math, when you're done, you should have a grand total in all 9 of 24 dots. Which
What do
Tiffany, you're fine. I've been
psionicists
watching
use?
you. Psionicists use a lot of resolve. There's other things too, but a lot of resolve.
What I figured.
So you could max that out and be a real good scion.
Yeah, what the hell?
Oh, this is just not fair. Do I go into the temptation of maxing out something? Or do I just pick one of the ones that I have like a 1 in so that it's not too completely sucky?
I don't think so, because you're going for a concept. And this is a nerdy guy who's shy and weak.
Did I mention he has a stutter?
Oh no.
That would also be presence, so I wouldn't increase that.
Yeah, I do have a question. How late in the 1900s are we talking where technology kind of went shit?
That's only in high-tech areas, which you're going to have very little interaction with.
Well,
Majority
that's
of the
the
areas
reason I
you're
asked.
involved with, technology stops at 1840.
Well, because the reason I ask is because I was kind of thinking of my character having the nickname Porky because he has a stutter like Porky Pig. And that character didn't come out until the 1930s.
That has
Like,
nothing to do with the technology level. That's just history. Technology level just means there's nothing beyond the technology of 1840.
But like he didn't come into the TVs and all that other stuff. So like, how would people be exposed to a character that didn't exist until
Same way they know to call their city Philadelphia. Word of mouth and stories being told down through time.
Gotcha. Okay, then his nickname was Porky. There you go, guys. Make fun of him all you want.
Steve and Sean, you good? Got all your points out?
Yes.
Good.
Final touches, which sounds fast, but there's a couple things we gotta do.
Got it.
Conditions, which you've already got your strain conditions. Additional stuff, health, defense ratings, and connections. So, in addition to the starting gear your role gave you, you can also pick 5 additional pieces of gear, none of which can be higher than Tier 3. They start on page 141. This one we're not going to do right now, just do it before next Friday. That way you can agonize over your choices. So, make a note, page 141, 5 pieces of gear, Tier 3 or lower. Don't try to pick 141.
Thank you.
So I wouldn't worry about picking them now. Typically, just make a note to yourself to do it.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to put it into my notes because I'll deal with it on Sunday.
Strain conditions we did. And now you get 4 additional dots of edges from anywhere, even outside your path. You have to meet prerequisites, and 3 of these can be Faith or Psi. So, again, you can start picking them now, or we can go over them later, but I am going to focus on Dwayne so that people can hear about Faith and Psi if they watch this later, or if they're still watching now.
So I picked 3 more edges, basically?
4 more. 3
4
of the
more
4
edges.
could be religious or psionic, but not all 4.
Or you can put an extra dot in one of the 4
Yes.
you already have. Okay.
Correct. You could also raise the ones you have.
Okay, cool.
4
I'm gonna have to
4
read through the
dots total.
edges.
Some edges cost more than 1 dot too. Yeah.
Okay.
So Dwayne.
Yep.
Which church again?
Oh, the Undying?
Yeah,
No,
right.
the Psionicist Guild.
Well, no, you also wanted a faith. Those are 2 separate things. You're doing both. Psionics is not theology, so you need to jump to page 176, and you need the initial faith edge. Of faith? Where's just faith? There's the core one. You gotta have to have all the rest. Let me find it for you. Oh, okay.
The Faithful Edge. The
So you
Faithful
need a
Edge.
category, right? You need to pick one of these distinctions of faith categories on 175. So your church is. If there's one that's specific to your church, we should pick it, but there is not. So you can do Blessings of the Faithful. That's it. All these, the rest are specific to some churches, not yours. That means because you have access to Blessings of the Faithful, you can buy any of those listed edges, but not any other faith edge. So you can buy Bacchanalia, Beacon of Hope, Burning Touch, all those. That makes sense?
But I'm spending.
Your four free edges. Only 3 can be Faith or Psionic. So that last edge, you'll have to be Mundane.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Of the Faith edges, you can pick any of the ones listed under Blessings of the Faithful. As for Psionics, you can pick any Psionic edge you want at 2 dots or less, or whatever you raise your base Psionic edge to.
Yeah, it's a 2 right now.
You could also raise that. It's up to you. Can't go over 3 at creation, though.
What
then
page
we're
is
going to
Kieran?
3.
141 is where it starts.
Oh, crap.
So basically with Psionics, if I was you and you wanted to do both, I'd take like 1 Faith Edge and then a couple ranks in one of the Psionic paths. That's how I'd do it to start. Or 2 paths at low ranks. Which one, again, totally up to you. If you want to take all week to agonize, that's fine, because there's a lot of choices for Dwayne especially.
Yeah, because I need to go back and look what all these edges do.
Yeah. This part I wasn't planning to do live, even if it had been earlier.
So, Tyler.
Yep.
With Catch a Ride, it says if I pick a vehicle as part of my starting gear, I'm not bound by the tier level.
Right, so you can break that because that's your edge.
So I could literally just pick any car.
You should. Yeah, I mean, you can, but keep in mind, you're passing over bodies of water. I'm not going to stop you from taking your car anywhere you want. It's going to be harder, though, if it's really big.
I mean, amphibicars probably exist. My character might.
Highly unlikely those exist. However, a Range Rover or a Humvee full of spikes and metal totally is on that list.
Alright, yeah,
With
so
a
that
Gatling gun on the top.
half-track rig.
I apologize. What was the gear limitation again?
Tier 3 or lower.
And I get 4 pieces?
5.
5.
You know what? Fuck it. My
lower.
character's gonna make an amphibicar. There you go, Steve, and Sean, and Dwayne, and
While you
Tyler.
guys,
I'm gonna make one.
while you guys look at stuff, we'll power through the rest here. Injury and stress. If your stamina is at 3, you have the second injured box available. Check it off. If your stamina is 5, you have the second bruised level. Check that off.
Say that again.
What's your stamina?
2.
Nothing changes for you. Does anyone have stamina 3?
Yeah.
I do.
So of all 3 of you, you should have a checkbox at the bottom of your sheet. You should have the first bruise checked off, both injured and the maimed. You're checking them so you know that those apply to you.
Question: I actually get an extra bruised box because of my stuff.
If you got that, then yeah, that applies just to you. Now, Dwayne, as a Psionicist, what's your resolve at? Is it 5?
The hell was that?
Fucking ghosts!
His real life resolve is not 5. Alright, so because your resolve is 5, Dwayne, you have all 5 boxes of mental hit points. What you're gonna need is a Psionicist.
I think he needs an exorcist
Unless
right
I
now.
roll super awesome and I go crazy the first session.
Actually, yeah, if you roll like Snake Eyes constantly, you will go super crazy in the session as a Psionicist.
Yeah.
Right. Your standard defense is 1, just so you're aware when it comes up. You can raise that through gear and XP.
Tyler,
Yes.
permission to buy a tier 5 item?
Denied.
But Tyler, I want the RPG
Find an edge. I bet there's an
For-
edge in the game that lets
for-
you do that.
for hunting reasons.
The RPG launcher is only level
Seriously?
3.
Seriously, dig through the edges. I bet there's an edge that lets you do that.
No, that's the enhancement level, Sean. The tier is on the right-hand side of the tag.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Also, you'll need to pick
Oh.
connections. You'll need 1 connection for each of your role and society path. Again, you should take the week because you only get one of each, and it's a hard choice. It matters a lot. Those begin on page 61. And then next week on Friday, we're going to go over the edges and connections you pick before we start so everyone can hear. Connections are the people and resources you can access in any community thanks to your paths. I'll go over some of that with you between sessions too, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Some of them are equipment or specialized workspaces. Remember to pick ones that are portable. Contacts. I will make sure a contact that fits the contact you picked is in the caravan with you. That'll be up to me. I feel like I missed something. Hold on while I double check. Nope, that was it.
How vital or important are medical supplies going to be for actually like curing injuries and bruises and things like that? Is that really the only way you can heal?
No, you heal naturally too, but it's slower. So that's what I missed was healing. I had a note. No, we did talk about healing.
Well, you talked about
XP. That's what we didn't talk about.
Okay.
Advancement. No, yeah. So I'll do the healing real quick because it doesn't take long to talk about.
Okay.
Basically, did I not save that chart? There it is. Oh, no, I see. I did not save the chart. It is in the book, though. Basically, as strains, you heal twice as fast as a normal human would in this same game system story path. So, like a bruised wound takes less than a day, an injury takes a couple days, and serious injuries and maimings take a week or two. And they will cure on their own. With medical supplies, you can double or triple the time.
Okay.
So, helpful, but not required. However, useful to have for the people in the caravan that are, like, not characters.
Sure.
Now, XP before we end the session, as everyone likes to hear about that. This
How do
game,
you level up in this game?
learning. For learning, here's how XP works. You'll get a point for showing up and maintaining the whole session unless the reason you leave is not in your power. Kids, internet outages, whatever. You get 1 point for achieving one short-term aspiration. You get 1 point if everyone achieves a short-term aspiration in the same act. You get 2 points if you achieve a long-term aspiration, but you cannot get points for completing a second long-term aspiration until everyone completes their first one. Another motivation to make you work as a team.
Gotcha. Okay.
You will also get 1 XP if you spend half the momentum pool in a single scene.
Okay.
You also get 1 XP if you reach a story milestone, and 3 if you complete the group story. 3 chances for that in the arc. Also, we'll get into votes, and I'll tell you how that works after we vote. Increasing an attribute by 1 dot is 10 XP. Buying a new edge or increasing an edge by a dot is 3. You don't have to memorize these. Changing your favorite approach is 15. It's basically a major part of your path. Adding 1 dot to a new or existing skill is 5. Adding a skill trick to a skill is 5. Adding a new specialty is 3 to a skill. And it costs 15 to add a dot to a path. Adding a dot to a path increases edges sometimes and will always give you a pool of points towards your skills, and it will also increase your contacts. The reason that matters is every time you use a contact, it degrades by 1 point. They start at 1 point, so they drop to 0 immediately if you use them right away.
Oh, no.
When they drop to 0, they're suspended. If you forcibly use them while suspended, it works, but then they become locked. In order to unlock them requires you to basically do a side adventure.
Yikes.
So, at story beginning without XP, you only get 2 users per contact.
So it's really useful to save up those points and up your paths.
Paths, yeah, give you a lot of stuff. And the
Okay.
reason contacts matter is they're basically bonus dice to dice pools, or bonus. They don't give you more dice to your dice pool, they give you more successes if you roll successfully to begin with. More chances for stunts, cool things.
I like cool things.
Alright. Well, survivors, you've reached the end of the character creation session. Very late in the morning. But have no fear, we'll be playing Dystopia Rising Evolution every Friday, till this story reaches its epic ending. And be sure to join us for our first play session next Friday in State of the End, for a chance to win a copy of this game for free.
What?
Wasn't going to make you sit through character creation to do that, but I will make you sit through it. But we're not quite done.
Oh
First,
no.
we got to vote on favorites. Dwayne, who's your favorite and why?
What?
Is this for all night or just character creation?
Because you did character creation, we're going to say this is for Sean's game since he doesn't do votes. But it will count in this game.
Oh shit! Throwing me off guard here. Who did cool stuff? Steve. Steve got drunk.
Also, you
Aww.
can't vote for me. You can vote for Sean as cool DM though. All right, Sean, who's your favorite and why?
Sean.
Can't vote for yourself.
Boo.
Boo, this game's stupid. Crap. What game did we play? Avernus.
Uh-oh, this is where the GM tells us who his favorite character is.
Oh, that's true. Crap.
Ooh, that's dark.
Oh.
That is dark.
Sorry,
I mean,
did
if we're
not
gonna
mean-
go based on that, you know it's gonna be me. I mean, Tabaxi.
I could vote
That's
Sean,
true.
and that could count for you as a player.
Oh no, she's right. It's Tabaxi, hands down.
That's true. Tiffany, who and why?
I'm actually gonna have to pick Sean, not just because like he voted for me, but because like you could see the pure joy on his face when he was watching everything go down. And I honestly, it was a big toss up between Steve and Sean, because Steve doing like the shield bash, you know, and then Sean just like, I could see him doing that little like internal giggle, like, oh my god, someone's gonna die, kind of like
Yeah.
possibility thing.
Probably.
It was the little happiness I saw on his face was definitely worthy of point.
And Steve.
This is really tough for me, because both Dwayne and Tiffany's character pulled me out of bad situations at some point, and I appreciate you playing into his quirks.
We all have quirks. It's okay, Steve.
And then Tiffany's rafter jump was really awesome. But apologies, I'm gonna go with Dwayne because Smoke Fire Wings is cool.
I
So-
agree.
So yeah,
Those
so
are actually part of the character. I drew them as like vestigial like.
You did, but
remnants?
they actually work, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a 1 day use power racial
The
power.
Oh.
the only like actual fallen Asmar picture that I've seen that looks like fallen is out of the Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Burned
No,
out
not
wings are on
Xanathar.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Bolo's guide, and just all smoky and yeah.
Since you all got a vote, here's how they work in this game. You can do one of two things with each vote you get any session. You can either add 1 free enhancement to a successful roll per vote, any roll, stack them, save them, meaning if you successfully roll you get free extra successes, or half an experience point. You have to say it though so I can hear it after. So, Dwayne, what are you going to use yours for? Half an XP or a bonus success?
I'll take a half.
Tiffany,
I'm gonna take a half.
make sure you write it down somewhere. Steve,
half.
John.
I am gonna take a hole because I'm
Denied.
gonna break the rules and be like, whatever, I do what I want. So
You're not DM in this game.
Denied.
well, tough because I just wrote a full on my sheet and there's nothing you can do.
Is that really how you spell?
Is anybody else's weapon
Are you
field
taking
attached
a
to
half,
their?
or you're gonna take the free skill?
Yeah, my weapon's attached to the
yeah, I'll take
experience too.
the thing,
Okay.
the half thing.
Okay.
Yeah, minus 2.
You're all very smart. I would always take the XP. Some people like dice, though. All right.
It's really useful to be able to know that you have that stored away. Like,
It is, yeah. I can see why people do it.
oh yeah.
Well, Scream Queen and Kings. Tell us what you're up to after this.
I will
Pluggable
be.
John.
I will be picking my last edge. Then I'll probably go to bed, and then tomorrow I'm gonna have to read more Avernus, and then I'll be playing the game on Monday. That'll be fun. 2 games. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to playing Sarge. Not Sarge. Senior Chief. No. Oh yeah. So the Siberian, which wait for it.
And
It's
Senior
great.
Chief.
And Senior Chief. I had this thing against my dad. He never became a Master Chief in the Navy, so I hate him now.
Wow.
He was always a Senior Chief. Yeah,
just so easy to be a Master Chief.
What-
So
what
many.
right.
What an
Like,
hyper
just-
specific.
Just get up there and be a Master Chief.
So
for
many of
Christ's
those
sake.
one guys per boat.
Right? Jesus. Anyway,
fuck.
yeah, real
So
family
many
trauma here
daddy
going
issues
on.
right now.
No, not a daddy issue, just domestic issues. Anyway, I'm at Space Lord PJ's.
All right, next.
What
Go
goes
ahead,
next?
Steve.
I don't even know.
I don't know how anyone could follow that up. Like, honestly.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm Voodoo Arcade. Find me online.
Tiffany, go ahead.
At Inuhime88 on Twitter, I am passing the fuck out after this and then fixing the rest of my edges on Sunday. Because I'm tired. I
Dwayne.
can't think straight.
Wayne is not tired, and you can find him at Made of Kimchi on the internet. I'm gonna have another beer and probably level up my characters.
Nice.
Sounds like a splatterfest of a time for all. I myself will be running our first full play session of They Came From Beneath the Sea on Monday. Come watch us, stay till the end, and stay for the chance to win a free copy of Scion. Another Story Path game that you'll see us play in the future.
Woohoo!
We, of course, can't give you free copies if They Came From Beneath the Sea, because it isn't out yet, but when it is, you should buy it. After that, I will be playing my cranky alcoholic superhero, Savage Supers Run by Steve. Eldritch Echoes. You'll find me online and lurk. And remember, follow us here on Twitch. Then head over to YouTube for the past episodes. Then like and subscribe and leave comments. We appreciate them greatly, and it helps us keep this going forever.
We do.
Till then, I
Forever.
leave you with this bit of sage wisdom. Zombieland rule number 20. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Unless it's a sprint, then sprint. Good night!